Well, a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Flight Data Sim live stream. Today it's the 16th of July, 2023, 3 minutes past 4 in the afternoon, back in Microsoft Flight Simulator in the Fokker F28 by Just Flight. Now, last stream was just over a week ago. Sorry there's been nothing in between. I've been so busy with work. I just did a full block of 5 days. Yesterday I had last minute duty changes, taxi drives. I was all over the place. And now I'm all done. I've actually got 2 weeks off now. I've got a lot of things planned outside the stream, my personal life going on as well, which I'm very excited about. But also I'll have a bit more time to stream as well. Now, I'm very concerned to see that we're having streaming issues. We suffered from this a few times last stream. I've done a full reset of my broadband since then, and it looks like it was plaguing during the start of the stream too. So I hope we've potentially fixed that. Well, it looks like we haven't, because VATSIM also disconnected as well, so it's definitely something a bit iffy with my internet. Having said that, I've got no outages, so I don't know what's going on. As I said, something could be wrong with my IP address or something. If we're having continued issues today, I do apologise, and I'll look into it after this stream. So hopefully no more freezes today. But yeah, I wasn't on VATSIM last time, but VATSIM did just disconnect at the same time. You lot said it was stream was broken. Anyway, put that to the side for now. We are in the F28 again. We're in Canada, Alberta. This is Edmonton, just stock scenery. You can see the weather here is a bit inclement. A lot of smoke around at the moment, I think, in this part of the world, which seems to be really nicely replicated in Microsoft Flight Simulator. We're doing 2 sectors today. First sector to Fort McMurray, which I think is still just about in Alberta, and we're flying as Canadian Regional, a defunct airline. That's our call sign, Canadian Regional, 1 Foxtrot Mike on the first sector. 50 minutes to Fort McMurray, quick turnaround. We're then going to continue to Yellowknife, which is in the northwestern territories of Canada. Made famous, of course, by Buffalo Airways. I'm sure most of you have seen videos, or at least the TV series, maybe on Discovery. Or is it Discovery? I'm not so sure. Of this airline, flying cargo, all their old classic cargo aircraft as well. So yeah, it's going to be good fun. Probably to be a nice 3.5 hour stream, and fingers crossed, as I said, we hope to have any internet issues. Yes, this is the Fokker F28-1000 variant, the little short baby version, which I think is the version that Canadian Regional flew when this airline existed. Alan Johansson, it's not your internet, it's a YouTube problem. Maybe a restart of your router is a good idea. I've done that, Alan Jensen. So basically, I turned off my router, my modem, the little box into the box for like 5 minutes, unplugged everything. I did that last night, plugged it all in, all working. But people have been saying that it is a YouTube issue, so hopefully that will be it from what we had at the start here. But let me know in chat if you're having any issues. Just refresh your stream. I don't know if any other streamers have been suffering the same issue. If not, it's certainly an issue my side. But here it's a really nice classic livery, very sort of typical of the livery designs in sort of the 80s and 90s. But yeah, I hadn't even heard of Canadian Regional prior to this stream. But we're doing full blast takeoffs. It's got a lot of performance at this weight here. As I said, 50 minutes, 1 hour, 10 minutes for the second sector. We're going to be doing conventional navigation, flying along airways. We're going to be using a VOR approach or an ILS approach. We'll try and follow everything as realistically as possible. So I'm VATSIM today. We might get ATC. There's no events. I did see an event in Maastricht today, which could have been an option. Of course, being in what's the country? Netherlands would have been very fitting for this, but Maastricht only has about 3 stands, so with it being a VATSIM event, 3 stands available, I would just end up being in slots and delays, so I thought I'd best leave that for another time, perhaps. Anyway, let's have a look here who's in chat. Yellowknife says hello. Hello, Longcat as well. Hi all, finally catching a live stream again. I have no idea what this plane is, but it looks fun. It is a beast. Domino Mosina, YouTube wouldn't cause your VATSIM connection to drop. Yeah, exactly. So it's definitely going to be an issue on my side, of course. Hello, Joe Jones Morning from Utah, USA. Hope you're doing well. Hello all, great start, says Alexander Pass. Yes, minus a little hiccup at the start there. Yeah, I'll have to do some digging then to see what's causing those issues. Not great there, but Streamlabs isn't complaining, saying the stream strength is excellent, so we'll have to see what happens. Anyway, let's jump on into the aircraft. Completely cold and dark again. It's just the stock scenery here. There was some Edmonton scenery, but you know, I probably won't visit this part of the world anytime soon again. The stock sceneries are okay in Microsoft Flight Simulator. The layout's correct, but you get no stand markings, no taxiway markings on the taxiways, so we'll do our best to navigate our way around. Anyway, we've jumped on into the cockpit. There we are, and we'll get everything started here. So I'm using the PDF to get the aircraft all configured as well. Be following the real world procedures for that. Try to operate the aircraft as realistically as possible. Hello Casper, hope you're doing well. 2 months as a member. A couple of wavy emojis from you. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for your support. Hello Hayden J Robbins too. Right, let's get some power onto the aircraft then. So battery on, which is here. There we are. You can see it's coming alive. We'll get the ground power connected, so we'll select that so you can hear it come to life. There it is. You can even see the exhaust fumes from it. It's a heck of an old GPU. So that has now, it says ready, so we can select that on. We now have AC power connected to the aircraft. Wuxian, hope you're doing well. I didn't realise you had to click the member milestone button to share a milestone. Yes, Wuxian, every member gets a free membership comment, where a highlighted comment per month. So there's yours. Thank you very much, Wuxian, for your 8 months as a member. I hope you're doing well. Paul Hamilton, too many analog gauges yet. There's not a single screen in here, just a weather radar and oh, there is actually a couple of screens in there. Weather radar and the IVSI with TCAS is the only electrical screens available here. Right, we've got some electrical power connected to the aircraft. We can check all the AC/DC metering panel, the buses, the transformer rectifier units, just make sure they're all in the green bands. AC power really only want to check after engine start. We'll do the APU fire test. We're not going to start the APU just yet. The temperature here is 16 degrees Celsius, so yeah, we can save not putting the APU on for now. So let's test the APU fire extinguisher, get the bell going, and then the extinguisher test light should come on after 5 seconds. There it is. Reset the system. We'll turn on the APU later with APU bleed air, and next we'll go to the overhead panel here. We'll start on the left hand side, checking the electrical panel. All looking good. Electrical power, we want these switches to the on position. Transformer rectifier unit switches are on, external power's connected, arm the emergency exit lights. We've already checked the AC/DC metering panel. The APU is off at this stage. We'll turn it on later. Engine control panel with the start switch. Start master is off. The cabin differential pressure. The elevation here is 2,000 feet, so you can see that's correctly and accurately modelled. You can see the elevation of 2,000 odd feet. I think it's about 2,300 feet. Yeah, it looks about right there. Probably around a couple of hundred feet out, but looking good that it's modelled. Bleed air supply up here. These switches are on auto. These are on as well. We turn on one of these switches prior for the APU bleed, so we get some conditioned air into the cabin. The authority for the cabin temperature is to the steward's position. Up here we can push the steward call button. We're cruising at 29,000 feet on this first short sector, so we'll set this to 1,000 feet above. For pressurizations, we'll set that to 30,000 feet. That's the pressurization schedule, then will all be automatic. That's all looking good up here as well. These switches stay off. This is for the aerofol anti-icing. These switches can go to auto. I think that's after engine start, isn't it? So we'll leave those off for now. Test the ice detection system. That test takes a minute. We'll put the window heat to low. No smoking and seatbelt sign can come on. I'll show you the fuel and payload figures shortly. We'll turn on the radio master switches, which are on down here. Looking good. Listener says, are any clocks in that museum for sale? Good one. Steph, Just Flight really do some good work. They do. In fact, one of the devs just emailed me an hour before sending me a hot fix with the beacon light. It's a very minor issue, but that's now working correctly. I think it was still flashing even though the swish was off in certain situations. Franco Bob Francis, turn the APU on. We're burning up back here. It's only 16 degrees outside. Shouldn't be too hot there. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for subscribing as well. Carl and Anthony 24. Listen, Microsoft Flight Sim really spoils you with the 7874 citations Garmin, so this one's a welcome change of pace. Agreed. Aerial Aviator, thanks for joining as a member. Glad you enjoy the content. You get the members only Discord invite, and hope you enjoy using the custom emojis in chat. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Excellent. So we've done everything we want to do up there. And we're moving on to the glare shield here. So we're taking off from runway 12. It's light and variable winds here, but looking online, they were departing off runway 12 here in Edmonton. If I bring up the charts, you can see it's a 3,100 metre runway, and the runway QDM is 120 degrees. So we'll select the heading of 120 on the heading bug. There it is. Our departure, we'll brief it later on. What have I just done here? I've pressed something on my keyboard which is causing these lights to blink, and I don't know what it was. That's like engine starting. What have I done? What's caused those to turn on? I pressed something on my keyboard, my shortcut for Navigraph, and I pressed something else, and then these blinking lights have started. I hope I'm not draining the battery. I've done something silly, but if anyone from Just Flight or knows this aircraft well can tell me what I've done to cause these lights to blink, I would appreciate that. I've already seen that happen during the engine start. As I was saying, runway QDM is set. Let me bring up Navigraph again. Wasn't the speed brake, no. So we're going to take off. The SID we're doing is an Edmonton 2. It's a radar heading departure, but essentially we're going to climb straight ahead and make a left turn to intercept this airway. This is the CYEG VOR. The airway is the, what's it named? Juliet 517. So we're going to intercept that airway. And it's a straight line, guys. The airway takes us straight to our destination, Fort McMurray, so we can tune over to the other VOR and go from there. How far away are you from 89,000 subscribers, Greg Scott? We're very close. I think we're like 88,808. Well, it was 88,888, but oh no, what am I on now? 88,910 or something. But yeah, we should be at 89,000 soon. Fuel cutoff switches. Oh, yeah, thanks. Now, how did I turn those on? Did I press Control E accidentally? No, I can't have done. But well spotted, well spotted. Elliot Smith, thanks for 20 bucks. He says, good afternoon. Thank you very much. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for popping in there. Really appreciate that. For your support and Captain membership already. Excellent. Hello, James French. Evening, Captain. Missed the last one. I've been looking forward to this F28 stream. My former instructor has just started right seat in the F100. Very cool to hear. Where's that, James French? Which airline is that? Right, so yeah, what was I doing? MCP, yes. Heading select, yes. Going back here to Navigraph, I just want to set the initial course for this airway. There's quite a lot of magnetic variation here, so you can see, look, this heading is 008 degrees. I think it's something like 16 degrees magnetic variation, so it's not pointing sort of true north. So 008 is the radial. I'll set the courses to 008 for that. 008. This is sort of stuff I could have done before the start of the stream. And the VOR is Edmonton 17.6. We'll put that active on box 1 and 2. There we go. So you can see that the HSI just came alive and the RMI looking good there. So the panel's all set for now there. Happy with that. Let me just catch up the checklist. We verify these are in the open position. These are the fuel shut-off valves. They want to be open for the engine starts. The engine fire guards are closed. These pop out, so if you have a fire and then there's a switch behind them. Test the EGPWS system, which I'll do now. Oh, I don't know. Have I just lost the internet again? I'll carry on just in case I have. We'll do the EGPWS test now. I'm just pushing this button. We hold it down.
Slow. Pull up. Glide slow. Pull up.
There we go. So that's all working fine. Test the captain's annunciator panel, which is here. Make sure all the red lights illuminate, which they have done. Set the nose wheel steering to on, which it already is by default down here. We don't need any flood lighting on, so we can leave that position to the off position. Oh, hold on a second. So I've just lost your chat. Hold on. I'm just going to press back on my YouTube Curator Studio because I've lost the chat. It went to another stream there. All good with the stream. Thank you. There we are. We'll be interested to see if you can get a hot start now. Yeah. Oh, buddy, I probably put all this fuel into the combustion chamber with those positions off there. I hope I don't have a hot start. Check the anti-skid control system, which is here. So check the inboard and outboard. Make sure the light illuminates. Moving here, make sure the pumps are in the normal position. We have 4 pump lights illuminated, which we do. Engine fire warning test we'll do next, which is here. I love all this. You get the red light illuminate up there as well. School's out, is it? Craig Maggox, is it too soon for a beer whilst I watch? Absolutely not. Crack one open. I might have a cider on the second sector. Please may I remind you not to fly and drink. It's something I do not recommend. TVI test, that's for the vibration gauges, which are just on either side of the weather radar. Looking good. Check the fuel quantity for this sector. So, I did a test sector this morning, and I don't know if I put the wrong block fuel figure in, but I landed on with fumes. I don't know if I just made an error, but just to show you here, we're going to test this out by taking standard block fuel for this sector. a 4.6 and an extra ton. So you can see I put 5.6 on board. So instead of 4.6, I've taken 5.6. We'll monitor the burn and fuel load on the sector, and it should be around a ton extra on each waypoint. I don't know, I think I just made a mistake and put too little fuel on my test sector, but I've taken an extra ton. This is the new sim brief profile for the Fokker F28. This is for the 1000 variant as well, which is now available on sim brief, which I did use. Very funny, Domino. See that I will doubly make sure the flaps are fully retracted for this one. They were on the test sector. Brilliant. TVI test is done. Make sure the what are these switches called? They call them the TCC switches. They're in the takeoff position to ensure we have the correct EGT. Crossfeed switches in the off position. Fuel pumps, we just test them at this stage. Make sure the lights extinguish, which they do. They'll be turned on just prior to engine start. That's looking good. Set the AT transponder to 2000 standby, which it is set to. The weather radar will move to standby. Unfortunately not modelled, but at least it has something displayed. Verify that the autopilot and yaw damping switches are in the off position. The roll and pitch switch are in the in position, and the hydraulic control lights are all illuminated because the engines are off. And that is it. That's the sort of initial pre-flight check. Everything's sort of set up ready for engine start. So just before we do that, I'm going to check the hydraulic system actually. So the first flight, you can see, look, because the aircraft's been off for a while, the brake and alternate brake pressure is low. So we'll turn on the System 1 electric pump. This will pressurise the brake and alternate brake system. As soon as it's in the green bar and the pressure stabilised here, we'll turn off the electric hydraulic pumps. Unlike the 737, we have these on all day. On this aircraft, I guess these are only used in non-normal situations because they are off in the pre-flight stage. But you can see, look, the brake and alternate brake pressure system is now pressurised. Confirm the parking brake is set. It is. You can see the cable directly connected to the parking brake. That's brilliant. Now, I think I've noticed something quite cool. Last stream we talked about the thrust index tables. Now if you look here, you can see I've got the manual open and there's a link here to the thrust index table. So what you do, you take your elevation, which is about 2,200 feet here, and then the temperature is 16 degrees. So we can go to 16, 2,200. You can see, look, it's 155 here, and it's already set to 151. Well, it's not far off, but I think it sets it for you based off the ambient temperature and altitude for you, because I think last sector was a lot higher. But we've set this, and this thrust setting I think is based off maximum thrust, based on you setting 100% for the ambient conditions, so your temperature and your altitude. So that's our thrust performance. This aircraft is light. It's the 1000 variant, full thrust. I was talking to one of my moderators, Tim, who flew on this aircraft as a passenger, and he said it had an acceleration like no other aircraft he flew on years ago. So, you know, big Spey Rolls-Royce engines on an aircraft with just 60 odd seats. It's gonna go absolutely flying. So now we've set the thrust index table power setting of 155. When we set takeoff thrust 100% here, that will be the maximum power that's achieved during the takeoff run. So we'll set 100% there. The instrumentation's all set. I just need to turn DME on, which I forgot to do on my test sector. DME and DME here. Now we should have the DME displaying. Yes, we do. 12.3 miles from the VOR at the moment. We are on VATSIM, but there's no ATC. We'll just make sure we're on Unicom, which is 22.8. That is active, and we want nav1 selected here. Nav1 is the active one. The autopilot's following the nav1. HSI and VOR. The stop attitude on this departure will set on the altitude set button. It is, let me just grab the chart, Edmonton 2. Right, initial climb is to 6,000 feet, so we'll preset 6,000 feet. We'll hand fly the departure again, like we did last stream. So 6,000 feet is set on the altitude window. Performance for departure and the V-speeds calculates for you based off your gross weight. We're going to use the flap 11 for departure, so if I click this, there you go, it sets all your bugs for you, which is really handy. I just want to set the speed to 250. The reason is I'm going to accelerate to this speed quite quickly after departure. I think it's usually V2 plus V2 plus 10, but I'm going to set 250, which makes my life a bit easier. Right, that's it. We're now ready for the engine start. We're doing very well for time. Let's just brief the taxi and SID, let me just grab the charts open for you again. So here we are, we're on stand, where's my little aeroplane icon? A remote stand here, stand 52. We're going to push back to face sort of northwest, taxi out via apron 1. We'll make a left turn on Quebec or Papa for the de-icing bay, and then we're going to go via Bravo for runway 12. That's just what I can see on flight radar they were using. The actual wind here right now is 190 at 2 knots. Weather's, as I said, a bit rubbish. 3 statute miles, smoke, FU. Is anyone from Canada here? Is this smoke to do with all these huge fires you're having? That's crazy if it is. 16 degrees, the inches of mercury 3003, so that's now set. So yeah, that's the taxi. The SID is very simple, guys. It's an Edmonton 2 departure, a runway 12 climb, heading 120, expect vectors to assign route. Turbojet, no right turns before 5.2 miles, but we're not going to turn right anyway. We're going to make a left turn from runway 12. What we'll do, we'll climb to about 1,500, 2,000 feet above the aerodrome, make a left turn, and we'll probably head about northwest, and then we'll intercept this radial outbound from YEG, the 008 radial, so it's like an omnidirectional departure towards Albany. Look at how the variation changes on routes here. You can see, look, the initial track from the VOR is 008 degrees, but it's not very far. But by the time we go past Letton, look, you can see it's 012. There's already 4 degrees of variation there, so we need to make sure we update the HSI. Oh my god, someone's gifted members. Tor 4x4, thanks for gifting 5 members. Streamlabs is saying thanks as well. Welcome aboard, Juan, Michael, Sandra, Rezex, Aaron Alexander. Some of these are old members as well of the channel. Welcome aboard, guys. Thank you very much, Tor and 4x4. It's not the first time you've done that, so thank you very much for gifting 5 members to the channel. Welcome on board to all of you, and that's very generous of you, Tor and 4x4. Thank you very much. Another member of the channel too. Excellent. Should we get the engine started then? We're on Unicom 122.8. I think that should be the last ping coming in there. It should be. Larry says Northern Alberta, especially near Fort McMurray, had some of the worst fires about a month ago. Wow. I guess some of this smoke is what we're seeing in the sim is from that, and actually I have to say, I think Microsoft Flight Sim is modelling the smoke as sort of as cloud, but it does look sort of quite dense there. Anyway, love the airplane movie GIF class films. Absolutely, Mark. He's been the sort of membership ping emoji or GIF since I've started it for years, so I'll just keep it. It's classic. Right, let's get these engines started then. So engine start, we can now request pushback, so we'll do that now. Shift P, and we're just going to do a straight. Actually, we'll just do a straight pushback. So I'll select reverse. Oh no! Oh no! I don't want that one. Stop pushback. How do I manual pushback? No, I want to do the. Oh, hold on. I've broken it by pushing Shift P, I think. So manual pushback. How do you stop pushback? Oh, why is it all blanked out? Oh, there we go. Oh, I'll do a pre-planned one. Do that and do that. Now for the first sector as well on landing, I'm not going to use a replay. Oh, what's it doing? Is this trying to push me back straight away? I don't know. I think the audio is broken on it. I've had this before. Do a power back. I'd love to, Brendan, but this aircraft doesn't have reversers. Anyway, we do need to get the. I just realised I haven't got the APU off and running yet, have I? So let's get that started first. So move that to main. You'll see the little APU inlet door open at the back. Wait 10 seconds. Cheers, Tor 4x4. It's very kind. Oh, I wouldn't say so. I'm just a guy who loves flight sim still. Let's start the APU. It's pronounced GIF, not GIF. I would say GIF. It's just like going to release the Fokker 100 anytime soon. I think that's next. I think what's going to probably come next from Just Flight. I mean, I don't know this for sure, but it's probably their Avro update. The to have all the glass screens in the 146. You can use the built-in pushback tool, though. Yes, it does have one of those, doesn't it? Right, looks like the APU's up and running, so we'll put the Gen 3 on. There we are, APU's on. Okay, the conditioned air coming into the cabin. So now I should be able to disconnect the ground power. So external power off. There we are, it's gone over to the APU bus, disconnect the chocks, we'll close the doors, ground power, cargo. Sounds like a Dyson. Other hoovers are available. Excellent, there goes the ground power, and the chocks we can now remove. Excellent, we're now in a position to start. Aaron, have you been watching Wimbledon at all? I haven't been too busy, but I know Djokovic is in the final with... And it wasn't the lady that won the women's yesterday unseeded or something? That's pretty good. But no, I can't say I've been watching it. Right. So yeah, I think the better pushback thing isn't working. I'll try the Just Flight one then. Right, let's get the show on the road then. So we're going to start the engines. Anti-collision lights can come on. Top, bottom. Nav light should be on already. We'll switch that on now. Confirm the... engines are at the idle position. And let's try the Just Flight pushback. I think connect. Oh, that opens this. Oh, I just think the audio is broken. That's all. I didn't actually know that opened that. Alright, let me just release the parking brake. See what happens here. Oh, speed. 2. I'm not having much luck here. So if I press that, connect, and now try. Oh, we're pushing back. Well, I think we'll just do 1 knot. I can't. I'm stuck at 2. 2's plenty quick enough. Okay, well, we're on our way. Yeah, I think the better push. It worked on the test sector. Worked on the test sector. Oh, there's a bit of a freeze. There's the beacon light flashing, and on the bottom, I like how it has 2 switches, one for each beacon. It's going to stop the. I'll press cancel. Oh, that was a bit of an abrupt stop. Parking brake set. That'll do. Oh, stream's failed again. Oh, my VATS are still connected. I'll just carry on. Why on earth would you need a switch for each beacon? When would you ever turn one off and not the other? I know, Frank, my friend. I don't know. Right. So. Yeah, and VATS was just disconnected. So I've definitely got issues with my internet here, guys. And I've reset. It's not YouTube, guys. It's me because my VATSIM's disconnecting. Cyber attack? I don't think so. Mark, is this the shortest variant you're flying? That's small. That is. It is the shortest version. So 47 to 53%. Fuel to on or open. Verify the blinking lights are out, and it's all looking good. I'm getting DOSed. Off the reset then for the APU. Gen 3 off, and then we can put the main off, APU bleed off, and that is actually. Oh, I think I did that the wrong way. I was meant to turn that off, then this switch, but moving that to off shuts the APU off anyway. That's not good because you've sort of starved it there. So that's all set. APU air is also off. Air conditioning switches both to on. Engine anti-ice switches can come on, which is down here. To auto, sorry, not on, auto. Pitot and window heat probe switches can come on, or pitot and vane heating. Verify the hydraulics are in the green band. They are all in the green band. Verify electric pumps are off. Flaps 11 for departure. So that's now set to 11. Oops, I accidentally rotated that there. Verify that both electric pump switches guarding the flight control supply lights are extinguished. They are. Ooh, I know what I forgot to do. I forgot to turn the fuel pumps on prior to engine start. Oops, it's done now. Seems to be fine with suction feed. Flight directors will be turning those on as well. Pitch command bar to 10 degrees. The heading bug set on for heading select. Set the stab trim by pushing this button here. That automatically sets stab trim for you. APU can come off now. Lift dumpers armed. There we are. Transponder Sorry, gust lock off. Transponder set to out on. There we are. And yaw damping switch can come in. And then the taxi lights on for taxi. There we go. For the cabin crew of a imminent departure, which we'll do next after we start taxiing. Try out your ISP's website to see if there's any issues reported. Brandon, such a cool pilot, freezes engine shutdowns, don't phase him. just got to crack on. Yeah, I'll do that, long cat. If any of the members have any suggestions as well, because obviously I've got a recurring issue here, well, I've not been on VATSIM since this started, but I've had 3 VATSIM disconnects. I've just reconnected, so if when I next do the VATSIM event, it's going to be a right pain if it keeps doing this. But my internet seems to be, the hub's blue constantly during the whole process, so it's not actually changing colour. It's just a little hiccups for about 2 or 3 seconds. And people have said it's an ISP issue, so hopefully we'll look into that. Mark, what are your type rated on, other than the 737, but any more in real life? Just the 73, buddy, just the 73, 300 to max. Nothing else. F28, of course. Right, let's taxi out. So we'll bring up Navigraph again, just to show you routing whilst taxiing. This is useful to have because there's no taxiway markings in Microsoft Flight Simulator with the default airports. We're going to go apron 1, right, Quebec, and then Bravo for runway 12. Right, so parking brake will release. See if we move. It's moving. Aaron, not much you can do other than report at your ISP if it sits more than a few days. Any suggestions are snake oil? Oh, great, that's not reassuring. Perfect. Yeah, unfortunately, no taxiway markings at all. You get them by the taxiway, but on the ground, no painted markings with default airports here. Suppose is 737 rating the same for 300, 400? Yes, it basically covers every variant from the 300, so excluding the classic, to the max. So every variant of the NG and the max, basically. Do you turn off the router often? No, Paul, but I did prior to this stream yesterday. And when I mean off, I unplugged everything for 5 minutes. I've not had a single internet issue, apart from only during streaming. Just these little cuts. Are you running a 4090? No, a 3080. So second left is Quebec. It's a cute little jet, isn't it? Oh, someone's following me. I should be unicoming this, shouldn't I? Edmonton traffic, Canadian Regional 1 Foxtrot Mike, taxiing runway 12 for departure to the north. I presume that's all working, connected. So left here on Quebec. So very careful airports like this. You could easily make a right turn and take off the wrong runway. People have done it before, so make sure you have a taxiway chart open at all times. As I do, but I still get lost. And then we'll take the left and hold up Bravo for departure. Have you noticed the F28 is a little hard on the FPS? Not for me. It's quite FPS friendly. Right now I'm getting 50 to fly live. Oh yes, I should have the charts open on this page really. Well, I'll put the OFP up at least for now. There we go. So we'll stop here at the whole point. We'll just then complete the checks for departure. So call the cabin, telling them you are ready. Perfect, and we'll just stop here at the whole point there, and we'll just get the lights on and transponder to TARA, etc. So parking brake is set. Transponder to cabin secure, great. I think it just stays in the on position actually. So that's set. We'll turn on all the lights. Have a bit of flare lights, a bit of this on, a bit of strobes. There we are. So MCP set, transponder TRA, strobe lights on, checks complete. So let's just have a little look here to make sure no one's on final. He's going to a different runway. Fair enough. No one there on runway 12. Canadian Regional 1 Foxtrot Mike lining up runway 12. So parking brake released. Line up. So on takeoff, we're going to hold it on the brakes like they do on the tutorials. Set to 100% here. 100% is our full rated takeoff. And then we'll go from there. And remember, it's a heading select departure. We're climbing to the stop altitude. Let's have a look at the SID again. Stop altitude of 6,000 feet. And then we'll make a left turn. What was it, the elevation? 2-3. So around, well, we can start the left turn at 1,000 feet AGL. So 3,300. We'll start that left turn to intercept the airway. The 008 radial from CYEG VOR. Perfect. It is a long call sign. Oh, gosh. Taxiing is not easy in Microsoft Flight Sim. Having said that, this is much better than the PMDG. Do tight turns at least. Right, there's no way of starting the timer, so before you lot start saying timer, it can't be done. We'll just note the airborne time. It's 1640 or 1540 Zulu. Right, tokens in chat. Let's go to Fort McMurray. Oh, wait, hold on the parking brake. Just turn on yoke cam as well. Hello.
Power set.
There's 100% set there. Perfect. Ah. Light forward pressure.
80 knots.
Checked. Release that forward pressure.
Rotate.
Off the thrust levers, up we go. We're airborne.
Positive climb.
Gears coming up.
0.
And it's a bit smoky out there, so I'm just going to go down to the instruments. We'll hold it at 10 degrees initially. See, the aircraft wants to accelerate so much, we're already at 160 knots. There we are, there's 1,000 feet. We're going to make a left turn now. Let's hold it at about 10 degrees. Give myself an intercept heading for the radial. Reduce thrust here a little bit. Go for around 1,500 feet per minute. And we'll select climb. Is it trim, hope? More power, actually. Now, usually it says flaps up, so I'm going to start retracting the flaps. I can't remember what the call is to get the flaps up. Trigger. Just going to lower that nose a little more. Just help it accelerate. So flaps are definitely up now. Gear. I pressed G. Thank you. I pressed it. I pressed it. I know this doesn't work, but I pressed the G button. Set glide power. That's probably why it not worked. I pressed the flipping G button. Want to go. That's better. At least I'm now accelerating. Level off at 6,000. Right, I'm going to keep the thrust where it is, just to accelerate to 250. Levelling off at 6,000 feet, which is the stop altitude. Trim nose down, let the aircraft accelerate. What a lovely level off. .250's coming up, so just start reducing power. Oh, it's really nice to hand fly. Put the altitude hold on the flight director. Where's my flight director gone? Oh, I don't. There we go. So, still not quite at 250. Did I press G, Mr. NTSB? Brilliant. So if I was to bring up the charts here, let's just see where we are. We're just waiting to intercept that. Oh wait, hold on. I need to go to this one. Waiting to intercept that airway. Look to the north. That's what we're doing. But it's beautifully in trim now. So what I'll do, I'll get the automation in. It's at 6,000 feet pretty much. So autopilot's on. There we are. We'll leave it in heading and pitch. I'm just going to select there. I think it's going to just level off at 6,000 feet for me. And we're pretty much bang on 250 knots. Now bang on 250, keep that white bar in the circle, that's your target altitude. We're just waiting for that HSI to come alive, and then we'll do the after takeoff checklist. Well, the departure was excellent, apart from the fact that the gear didn't go up. And there's no ATC here, so what we'll do, we'll go straight up to our cruise level now. So we're going to set 290. We're going to select indicated airspeed hold and set climb power, which is 470 degrees max. Where's the D10? There it is. The aircraft's now going to pitch to maintain 250 knots. Still waiting for that HSI to come alive. Where it is, so you can see the HSI is now coming on. So we can go to beam, Vorlock. It's armed. This will go green once it's on the 008 radial. There we are, green. Beam's active. There's the turn. There's Edmonton. Oh, notice I don't have the hush kit on today. Sorry, Edmonton residents. Awesome add-on. Sim's looking on point. That would not be a comfortable seat for your right ear. Beautiful. So just to show you now, we're established on the outbound radial. We'll carry on this radial and this airway all the way to our destination, where we're going to self-position for the ILS. We just need to make sure we adjust the HSI en route, as the magnetic variation changes very quickly up at this latitude. Check the temperatures, 450, so we can actually add a bit more thrust. Drops off actually as you climb. I just want to keep an eye on the fuel quantity as well. We'll do some periodic fuel checks. Anyway, look at that, sorry, I passed flight level 100, or 10,000 as we're in, 11,000 in Canada. So, resort pitch trim. I've got the nose trim assigned, you see my yoke here, the pitch trim for the autopilot to the right trim, so you can see if I pitch nose down, that moves the little blue switch. We're just going to set about 1,000 feet per minute. Let the aircraft accelerate to around 270 knots. Just about there. So once that white bar is on the circle, we're flying the bugged speed. And we'll go back to indicated airspeed hold. Here comes the white bar. We're almost at our target speed. There we go. And pitching for indicated airspeed. You'll see the aircraft now pitch up as it maintains the indicated airspeed. There we go. We're on our way. Now if I look at the flight plan for you. So we're en route. Abney's our first waypoint after YEG, but you'll see, look at the track changes as we fly along the route. So initial magnetic track is 008, but look as we go along the route, even though it's a straight line on the airway, 009, 010, 011, and eventually it's 012. So we need to make sure as we fly along this route, we adjust the course by sort of 1 degree every 20 minutes or so to make sure we're along the airway, and that's magnetic, the magnetic variation. Prep Canadian operators flying the F28 all had either a GPS or a universal FMC in them. Ah. Oops. Not nows. Not nows. Well, it's climbing a little better than last stream. Look, the flaps are up now, the gear. I better do some checks. I don't think I even finished the after takeoff checklist. Right, the automation's all in. The arm system is disarmed, passing 10,000 feet. You can turn off all forward-facing lights. Turn off the no smoking seatbelt sign. We're already at 270 knots. We can set standard now, approaching 18,000 feet, so I'll set that now. 2992. Now we'll just monitor the engine instruments during the climb. So the engine's running a little hot there, 470 max TGT during the climb, so just reduce power slightly. No auto throttle, remember. Fuel flow's good. Fuel quantity, we've got 2.5 tons, just under 2.5 tons a side. So we started with 5.6, so we've got about just under 5 tons now, but about 700-800 kilos. Franco Bob, do check your gear. I know, it's up now, look, it's up now. And look at it, leaving foggy and smoky and misty Edmonton behind, although we're leaving our own plume of smoke. Amazing Maze, what's the hush kit for? I'll let you have a guess on that one. It's good if you don't have no. It's good question. It essentially, well, it was a little. Well, I can't really describe what it is there, but it was like on the training, or the rear of the engine was like a sort of guard, which lowered the noise of the jet stream coming out the rear of the engine. WMOC, can you start smoking? You can. So what we're going to do is we're flying en route on this airway. It's between two VORs, this Quebec airway, or whatever it's called. I think the airway name changes, but what we'll do, we'll tune up the VOR just to the east of our destination of Fort McMurray. That is 112.0. What we're going to do is tune it on box 2. So that's active, and we're going to wait for the VOR needle here to point straight up towards the VOR, and then when it does, we'll switch over. Remember we talked about how the magnetic variation changes. You can see we're approaching Albany, so if you look here, you can already see that it's 008 still, so we'll keep on 008 for a little longer, and then when we pass Cacho, it goes to, we're still 008, so a little bit further up north, I think. Letter 012, look, there's a big 4-degree jump between the waypoints, so I reckon we should already change it. And if you look at the aircraft, look, you can see it's ever so slightly to the left of route, so if I change this to 009, it should command a right turn. There you go, so just to adjust for the magnetic variation as you fly north. Josh, can this plane do gravel landings? I think it can. I think it can. Whether it needs any modifications like the 737-200 gravel kit version has, I don't know. But I'm quite sure this aircraft was sold with the ability for it to land in remote gravel strips. Cheers, Tor 504. Thanks for the 1 month as a member. Damn, Jim, not putting the gear up when you called for it. I know. You heard me do it. You heard me do it. Oh dear. Jim's just chilling out there next to me. He doesn't give a. Well, you know what I want to say, but I can't because it's a family-friendly stream. Larry, Larry's saying what I was trying to say. Hush kits place chevron-shaped protrusions at the rear of the main compressor walls. The triangular shapes cause audio waveforms to destructively interfere. I basically was trying to say that, but I didn't know what words to use. Basically, it shuts up the engine slightly. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Larry, for your input. Anyway, we're climbing well. We'll maintain 270 knots. We'll convert to Mach decimal 0.7 in the cruise. And when we get the other VR active, we'll start planning our descent. The weather in Fort McMurray is very nice, I believe. I'm just grabbing the METAR for it. Yes, it's 1108 knots. Okay, we might have to do a visual approach. I think we're going to do a visual approach today then, because the only precision or non-precision approach they have is RNAV or an ILS onto their westerly runway 26, which I can't land on because there's 8 knot tailwind. So we'll do a visual approach today. We'll self-position and do a visual. More fun, I suppose. Blue Hour Productions, how do you get the Alpaca Airways livery for the PMDG 737 800 in Microsoft Flight Simulator? I can't. Thank you, Listerman. Listerman's on it. Follow the link coming up in chat. Could do a circle. that's a good point. But I think on this ILS chart, they don't have circling minimums. Yeah, so it's been years since I've used proper JEPI charts. Usually you'll have circling minimums, otherwise I could have done a circling. But there's no charts or no circling minima here. I could do a visual, it's fine. What we'll do, we'll route towards the VOR and then I'll position downwind, right hand. If there were circling minima, I could definitely do one, but there's no minimas here, unless it's on a separate chart. Otherwise, then we could do a circling. A circling is perfect for today. You fly a precision approach to a circling minima, you then do a circuit round based off the height. But I'll have a look to see if there's any additional charts and minimums of circling approach. I don't see why they can't stop you from doing it. Oh, it helps if I get the correct airport. Nothing here. De-icing ops as well. So the only approaches, look, there's the ILS for 2.6 with no circling minimums at all. There's RNAV approaches for 2.6, which they also don't have circling minimums on either. I mean, I can fly the ILS and then self position to 0.8, but what height we level off at, I mean, there isn't one. That's why it wouldn't be very realistic to do a circle to land. But so it wouldn't be too difficult to do. Anyway, we'll be doing a VOR approach into Yellowknife. There's no ILS, well, I think there is, but the approach you want to fly runway 16 is a VOR approach, and it's a 45 180 degree teardrop turn, so I think that'll be quite good fun to try that out. Want to go? No, 1,900 feet to go. It's a little bit too keen there. Look at this part of the world, it's very flat here. Josh X just looked it up, the Fokker F28 can do gravel ops without any modifications. That's why the wheels are so huge. There you go. Still haven't picked up the other VOR yet. I like how there's an angle of attack gauge, but there isn't any sort of like max limits displayed. Just monitoring the temperatures. Temperatures are fine, 450 degrees. All temperatures good. Fuel temperature is fine. All pressure's all in the green band. Looking good. Now it's one to go. Yep, that's Canada east of the Rockies for you, just flat Malteser, I guess. Matthew, we are very anti-circling approaches in North America when it comes to airline ops. All airline type ratings issued with VMC only circling restrictions here, and IR manuals are original as to... Ah, very interesting, Matthew. Yeah, I mean, I have done circling approaches on the line into some of our smaller French airports, but they no longer have circling approaches. They're all RNAV-based approaches now onto the non-conventional instrument approach side of the airport. Pisa was another one that we used to do a circle there, but that's now RNAV based. So yeah, I have done circling, and it's a very unusual sensation if you're a must-be a passenger, because you're there, we're fully configured, dirty, gear down, flat 15, leveling off at 800 feet above the ground. And then we hand fly the turn from base onto final, which obviously there's no guidance, which can be a bit entertaining. When you say VFR minimums, Matthew, is that quoted on your charts? Anyway, there's 290 cruise level. We just picked up the other VOR now. Look, the RMI is pointing towards it. We'll start reducing thrust to maintain Mach decimal 0.7. This is a fine art here. I'd love to know what a good setting is here in the cruise to maintain 0.7, because I always seem to exceed MMO. A little fast. There we go. A little less thrust. Right, there we are in the cruise, and if you look here, we're almost halfway. We're 107 miles from Edmonton and 120 miles to Fort McMurray. So what I'm going to do is just revert to heading for a second, So I'm going to go heading select. Heading select. Just make sure I'm on the actual heading first. And let's have a look at our en route charts. We are routing via Catcher, and again that is the 008 radial still. So what we'll do, we'll put 008 back on. Tune the VOR, box 2, 112.0. It's now active. That is the correct VOR, isn't it? 112.0, that is good. And you can see that the HSI is telling me to fly right, and I think that's just to do with that magnetic variation. So what I'll do, the airway goes from 008 to 012, so I'm just going to set 010 now in between, go Vorlock, and beam, there we are. So now flying directly to the VOR just to the east of Fort McMurray. 113 miles to go. You can calculate your ETA. 16 minutes will be there. That will be less as we descend and slow down. DME based air speed, ground speed is 421 knots. This is very accurate, this sort of range as well, as long as you're flying directly to the beacon, which we are. And you can see, well, you can see as you turn, look, the speed drops off slightly. And also I am decelerating as well, which won't help. There you go. It's very good to spot speed trends. Just accelerate back up here again. So yeah, guys, what we'll do today is, I think we'll fly a visual approach. So just to show you the airport, here is Fort McMurray, which is just to the west of the VOR. The only approaches, as I've pointed out, are an nav base, which I can't do, and there's an ILS onto 26, and there's no circle. So what we'll do, we're going to fly towards the VOR, and then when we're about 6 miles away, we'll disconnect everything, and then we'll fly a visual approach outbound. We'll just sort of try to look out the window. We'll get down to about 3,000 feet, turn final, and fly visual. We'll configure to flap 11 on downwind leg, turn final, gear down, then it's flap 28, I think, or something. But yeah, we'll come in obviously from the west. Now, my operator, when we fly visual approaches, going fast now, we set as minimums. There's no minimums per se on a visual approach, but we set this to elevation plus 500 feet as a sort of like a stabilisation point. So we'll set this to 500, and when it says continue, we just check that we're stabilised. So 499 is the maximum. That's fine. Just take a bit of thrust off here. I'm about to exceed MMO. I could use the ILS to a tailwind. I mean, it's up to you. Guys, give me a rough idea in chat. I could poll it. I can do an ILS onto a tailwind. I should think the maximum tailwind component is probably around 10 knots, and what it is for the 737, 15 knots. It's 1108, so it's well within the limits of doing an ILS with a tailwind, or I can do the just self-position for a visual. MSA, we're completely visual, so it's completely clear. Well, I'll poll it. Hold on. Engage with your audience. Start a poll. ILS with 10 knot tailwind. Whatever the hardest approach is, brilliant. Well, I know. Probably the visual. There you go. Knock yourselves out. Right. Oh, this is great for checking speed trends. I'm just going to add a bit of thrust now. Look how sensitive it is. I added the smallest amount of thrust. I just don't like the parasitic drag model in Microsoft Flight Simulator, so if I add a bit of thrust, it doesn't seem to really stop accelerating. It just carries on accelerating. Can you do a visual with your eyes closed? No. I knew you guys would go for the visual. Hey, it's a democracy here. You guys have got to choose. Anyway, look, we've got to start descending soon. At least if it's a visual approach, I don't have to brief much. So we're 86 miles from the VOR, plus track miles, probably around 15. So we want to start our descent at 29,000 feet. Well, let's aim to be about 6,000 feet before the VOR. The elevation here is quite high up as well. It's 1,200 feet. So we want to be at around 6,000 feet before we turn downwind. So we're at 29,000 feet, minus 6,000 feet, it's going to be, we need to lose 23,000 feet, times that by 3. So when we're 69 miles away, we'll start our descent. And we've got, the great thing is we can switch this to time, so you can actually work out your rate of descent, make it a little bit more accurate when you get closer. There we are, speed seems to be quite stable now. We'll just fly decimal 7.5, 7.2, whatever that is. So let's, just before we start our descent, because there's no instrument approach we're flying today, we're flying a visual approach. This is what you do in your Cessnas every day, but when it comes to commercial airline operations, there's a few considerations that you have to think about to comply with rules in your operating procedures. Now, I flew a visual approach the other day into Lanzarote. Weather was really nice, but it's not always easy for air traffic control to give you a visual approach. In America, they just go, yeah, clear visual. In Europe, it's a little bit different with regards to the phraseology and when they say visual approach, because when they clear you for a visual approach, they give up all responsibility for terrain clearance. It's all up to you. So you've got to be very confident that you've got to be able to see the runway, okay? So before you even request a visual approach, you've got to make sure the weather's suitable. So essentially you can see the ground, the terrain all around, and that you can position the aircraft by visual reference to the runway. And by operator, we have to do the double briefing to ensure that the also we call it double briefing to ensure we know how we're going to fly, how we're going to configure. It's just basically self-position. You can go from a 4-mile final. Ideally, if you've got PAPIs, we utilise LNAV and VNAV as well in the FMC. At night time you can do it, but you need PAPIs, and you cannot self-position below the MSA at night time. So you can self-position, but you've got to stay above the MSA until you're on final. That's about it, really. We have really low RVR requirements off the top of my head. I think it's like 800 or 1,000 metres. I mean, you bar me to do a visual approach from less than 1,000 metres it is, but I think it's like 800 metres or something. But yeah, there's no minimums to set. It's a visual approach. It's not an instrument approach. You are self-positioning in reference to the terrain. That is all. Right, anyway, look, 69 miles. Let's start our descent. So regarding the routing then, we're just going to continue to fly towards the VOR. When we can see the airport and we are visual, we'll turn right-hand downwind for runway 08 and land visually there. At a busy airport, will visual be pretty much ruled out? Yes, at very busy airport, Spurious, yeah, where they're sequencing traffic, you can forget it. Right, so MSA, or the more in that area, is 4,000 feet, so just looking at the charts here, 4,000 feet all round, look, 4-3 to the north, so we'll set 4,000, we know that's safe, and that is the MSA. And we'll set that there, indicated airspeed hold, and then you reduce thrust to 80% HP until 25,000 feet. 80% HP gives you around 1,000 feet per minute. Well, that's what it says in the manual. But it's going to be about 2,000 feet now. Top of descent in chat, and then we'll use this great little time distance, we'll just time distance calculations to try and be at 4,000 feet. Or 3,000 feet just downwind here for the circuit. Jack's downstairs with my girlfriend at the moment, Craig. I'll bring him up later. He's a little tired. I've got 2 weeks off, guys. I've got 2 weeks off. So excited. But yes, it does say in the man. Yeah, it's stabilising now. 80% minimum are HP until below 25,000 feet. Then it says below 25,000 feet you can go to idle. Then on approach it says use speed brake over lowering the thrust below 80% HP. You're 80% Harry Potter now. Unbelievable. Right. We'll just continue flying direct to the VOR. So we've got 27,000 feet. Now we need to be at 4,000 feet, so we need to lose 23,000 feet. We're about 7 minutes away, but this will stay sort of roughly stagnant for a short while as we slow down. So in that time, to lose that sort of height, we need to go down at around 3,000 feet per minute, but we'll increase that to 2,000 feet. You can also, if you want to go down quicker, in this aircraft it's no problem using thrust on with speed brake. In the 737 you'd never do that, so I can use speed brake with thrust on this plane. So if I go out here, it will increase our rate of descent, and this moves out automatically. It won't move out any more than this at this height because of the true airspeed. It's all automated then. John C, it's a fascinating little airplane. Way too complicated for me, but fun to watch it being straight. Awesome. Yeah, it is good fun to fly. But yeah, I don't know if anyone from Just Flight's watching today or anything like that, but I'd love to know the whole idea behind this minimum 80% RPM. And then at 25,000 feet, the tutorial says, yeah, you can go idle then. Airport's off there to look at the lovely weather today. I'll be doing some streaming, Aaron. It's not just for you guys, though. We are going for a weekend break next weekend to Norfolk. Going to Norfolk for 3 days next weekend, which I'm looking forward to. The weather should be better than it is now. I don't think it will be sunny, but the weather in the UK is awful. I flew yesterday and it was horrible weather. Horrible weather. Right, below 25,000 feet, so according to Just Flight, I can now go to idle. That horn is completely normal. It says you can cancel it using this. It's the landing gear warning horn. Now I've got my speed brake out as well. Now I can go to idle. I can actually stay there. And we are now dropping like a rock. If anyone could get the pressure setting at Fort McMurray for me in chat, that would be great. So we can set that. So remember, the VOR is just to the east of the airport. It's completely flat around here. Very sparse like this. Very few built up areas around here. There's a major road there, but Aaron, weather in Ireland is pure unadulterated misery at the moment. That's to be the wettest July in a long, long time. I know. I may or may not have been bashing around in the said weather yesterday. We'll not discuss further. Seatbelt signs coming on. Oh yes, we'll be using flap 42 for landing. So I'm going to click it once. Now, there we are, to get the bug speed. And now I'm just going to update my fly speed to 250. Bug speeds are set for landing. The configuration in this is flap 11, then the next flap setting, then on approach it is 200 knots, flap 11, reduce 160, and then flap gear down, then flap 25. So about 5 minutes to run now. Good rate of descent here. Passing 18,000 feet. We need to get down to 4,000 feet, so we need to lose 14,000 feet, and we're 4.5 minutes away, so let's check that calculator here. Needs to be doing about 3,000 feet per minute, so I'm going to extend my speed brake slightly. Put too much thrust off there. Let's get that speed brake out. If you want to get, there's no issues with high energy approaches in this. You can just whack out that speed brake. That's as far open as it'll go based off our true airspeed, but as we slow down that should increase. So you can already see, look, it's sort of getting a little bigger. When you did your visual into Lanzarote, did you put through it? Yeah, it was okay. I checked the webcam afterwards. There's a Lanzarote 24-hour webcam, so it's quite common. Well, the guys I fly with, especially the FOs, like, should we look at your landing? We'll wait on the turnaround. Thanks to the pressure setting, it is 3006, which we can set now. Actually, if I press B, I wonder if it'll do it for me. Not nearly, 3008, 3006. 20 miles to run, 3.5 minutes. Rate of descent is high now, which is good. Again, it doesn't matter if we're a bit high, we can just go from around there. Above 80% HP, the 7th and 12th stage compressor will give 65 psi, enough for compression and de-ice. Below it's one stage compressor, so maybe issues around de-icing and compression. Probably spurious, so I should check pressurization, which I forgot to set here. The elevation. Now, this is one thing I also need to look up. It says in the manual, set the landing elevation. Now, I don't know if I set that here, using the big needle. Do you set the big needle to the elevation, or do you set the elevation in the gauge here? I'll put the big needle to the elevation, 1,200 feet. Only 17 miles to run to the VOR, 3 minutes, We're losing 3,000 feet per minute there, so 9,000 feet. We're going to be bang on 4,000 where I want to be. We'll turn downwind just before the VOR. So just to show you again where the VOR is. Just the east of the airport here. So as soon as we've got the runway in sight, we'll break off the airway and fly the visual approach. I'll utilise the automation just to get downwind, and then we'll disconnect from there. That's from the Just Flight manual. Ah, okay, I missed that. In fact, I think that could be... There's the airport here, look. There is the airport in its sort of pixelated form. Hello, Fort McMurray. I just looked for an airport between here and Yellowknife. I was just going to do one sector. I thought, you know what, let's do two here. Wake Vortex, I did see about that in the media. I don't know if it's affected flights today or at all. Ooh, better slow down to 250. So pitch. We'll pitch up to around 500 feet per minute. Just need to get below 250 a little bit fast here. I've still got the speed brake out. That's going to really slow the plane down now. You see that as the aircraft slows down, the doors get open wider and wider and wider, and that system's completely automatic. Even I'm not changing that. Now the drag's really going to increase. Indicated airspeed, now we're at 250. And I'm happy now. We'll break down. Well, we'll get a little lower first, and then we'll break down wind. God, look at it go down now. So we'll ignore any guidance for this. This will be a visual approach. Getting ready to turn downwind. Descent planning worked out quite well. Landing on 08 with the headwind. Alex says, hi Funsum, how do you make your thumbnails for your YouTube videos? Ooh, hello. That's very... Sync rates... Oh, I just tested it. I'm still quite high here. So I'm going to stow the speed brake. Yes, I make them using editing software. Defunct, I think it's called. Right, so let's go heading select now. And I'm going to turn downwind. Heading. And just for situation awareness, I'm going to set the runway QDM on the HSI. The runway QDM is 075 degrees. So this will be sort of, you know, the direction of the runway. But we're not using the... I'm actually going to detune the ILS hit, the VOR hit, because it's going to give me nuisance guidance. There we are. So they're detuned, and this is just the direction of the runway for situation awareness. There, I've turned a little bit. I've turned a little late. We're gonna have to make it. We're gonna have to go out this way a little bit. I turned a little bit too late there. So okay, ignore the altitude alert. This is where it gets tricky because you've got to judge when to turn final. So elevation's 1,200 feet. I've got no DME distance, which is really useful when you're doing a visual approach downwind as when to turn final. Elevation's 1,200 feet, so we're still 3,000 feet high, so I don't want to turn final just yet. I'm just going to bring the speed back to 200 knots, still descend to 4,000 feet. Yeah, I'll look into it. It's very weird, these internet issues, because it just basically, I lose it, but I don't lose it. It sort of just hiccups for a second. Don't mess with the pressurization paddle in flight. Oops. Oh, it's getting a bit misty here as well. So I'm going to turn final soon. There's 200 knots. So you want to be below 200 knots for flaps 6 to 25. So I'm going to... Oops, climbing there. We'll select a natural flops there. Just want to continue descending to 4,000 feet. Unfortunately, I don't have Jim's view assigned, so I can't look outside for that. Let's bug 180 now. I'm going to go for another natural flops, which is to 11. No, it's still 11 degrees. That's fine. So we'll turn final now. It's a bit of guesstimating. The speed's good. I want to keep descending in the turn here, so we'll just set about 1,000 feet per minute. And there's 180 knots, so speed's good. Oh no, we're doing about 160. Let me just pitch down here, just make sure that's fully stowed. I'm just going to pitch down and add a bit of thrust in to get back to 180. So this is where it's tricky in Microsoft Flight Sim. He wants the gear down, not just yet. And a visual approach needs to be inside the runway all the time. So hopefully I'll turn around the corner, be roughly lined up with it. And not too low, not too high. 180's fine. Why is it getting really misty and murky all of a sudden? There we go. Alright, I can see some lights. I'd hazard a guess that's the airport. I feel a bit high, so we will drop the gear now. If it works. There we are, gear down. So again, visual approach, as I was saying, my operator, 800 metres is the minimum, so this is well in excess of that, so we're fine for a visual. Just trying to judge, this is the hard point here in a desktop sim, is actually judging your correct height. You know, I feel like we could be pretty close to where we want to be. The missed approach on a visual approach, you need to discuss with ATC, because there is no missed approach for a visual. They might want... That's 42 coming up then. They might want you to fly a missed approach off the one of the instrument approaches, but that's something you discuss with ATC. Let's update the bug speeds. Visibility's getting worse. So I'm trying to configure the aircraft as well. I forgot to do the lights as well. Oh dear. I was hand flying at that stage. Checked. I'm not even looking where I'm going. Yeah, speed correcting. Pitch down and get that speed back up. Yeah, and that is accurate too, because I shoved the nose down. Well, it's giving me glide slope warnings. There's no glide slope. Right, so I could be a little bit low here. Again, if that's the case on a visual, just level off. You don't want to be ever below any glide slope if that is the case. This is hard because the visibility is not that great. And I'm guessing that this is the airport. I'm just heading towards the flashing lights. See, because I was heads down, flicking the lights on and arming the speed brake, which is my trusty First Officer Jim's job, I've got a little off track here. So it looks like the runway could be to the right. Now we'll get back on that path. Okay, approaching the minimums for our visual. Remember, there are no official minimums. I just hope they're the leading lights for the runway. Actually, feel a little high here, so let's just set 1,000 feet per minute now. Okay, that's actually good. That's not been too badly flown. Yeah, because it's based off radio altitude, the heights up and down, it's going to be all over. So we'll continue visually, maybe a little low here. Just have a bit of thrust, speed's good. I see 2 whites, although 3 reds, it's a little low. Back on 2 reds, 2 whites, that's good. So I did get a little bit low early, but we've recovered nicely. Speed's a bit low, so I had a bit of thrust, a little tad high now. Let's watch that rate of descent. Just do 1,000 feet, get back onto 2 reds, 2 whites. Speed's a little high. Get ready to pull the lift, or not the dumpers out, the speed brake out over the threshold. So let's get the speed brake out. Just got a bit high there. Woo! Oh yeah, I was about to go idle. Ooh. Oh my goodness me. That was a bit of a float. Oh, come on, settle down. Oh, down. Right. Well, that was an interesting approach. Oh, there's no reversers. I'm just going to let the lift dumpers and speed brake do their job. Yeah, I was a little bit sensitive in pitch. I pitched up and it just wanted to go flying again. Anyway, we're down. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fort McMurray. There was a little oscillation, yes. There we go. Well, not bad. You know, for an unplanned, unflown visual approach, I'm pretty happy with how that went. You know, I was having to go on the external view to judge the turn final. I was a little late turning downwind. I was still doing 250 knots. I was ideally wanting to bring the speed back prior to turning final. And yeah, the conditions aren't ideal for visual, but well within what's required at my operator. And yeah, we're on the extended centre line, bit low, and then we levelled off and then came in nicely. That's it, really. Perfect. Yeah, again, I do apologise for these little internet hiccups. How I'm going to do a VATSIM event, I don't know. I need to get these fixed as soon as possible, because as soon as you have this hiccup, it immediately disconnects you from VATSIM. Anyway, we'll let the speed brake and lift dumpers stowed, and we'll taxi on in. Yes, I was disconnected 6 minutes ago, but it happens about every sort of 15-20 minutes or so, isn't it? Right, so that's the first sector done from Edmonton to Fort McMurray. I hope this is the correct airport. And then we're going to go to Yellowknife afterwards and fly a VOR procedural approach. We're going to make a left turn here off the... No, I thought that was where we vacate. No, it's not. I could have vacated probably beforehand. And then we'll do the flight to Yellowknife, which is a little longer. We'll have a little break as well. Thank you very much, Alison Wildman, for your membership for 9 months. I see your comment coming in as well. Lovely looking plane, interesting landing. Why, thank you. It was interesting. It was interesting. I was a little high on speed over the threshold, but it is quite sensitive in pitch for me, so I think I need to just tune that down slightly, because I started flaring and then I was going back up again. But there we go. Thank you very much for your support, and we'll see you in Discord. Right, there's runway vacated. Let's do the taxi in music as well. I think it will actually play the Just Flight cabin music after we vacate the runway as well. Thank you very much, Passenger Escobar, for your donation as well. £7.64. Thank you very much. You're most welcome. I saw your great news in Discord.
Just wanted to say thanks again.
You're welcome, Passenger Escobar. Thank you very much for your donation. Member of the channel, just about to start flying the 737 for a cargo airline in the US. So, well, not just the US, they're everywhere, but I'm looking forward to hearing all about it. Thank you very much for your donation and your support for all this time. Well, if I turn the taxi in music, you can enjoy the Just Flight cabin music instead, which is very much like a hotel foyer music. We just vacated runway 08, then we'll taxi to the only terminal here. We'll turn off the lights here, except taxi. I prefer mine, if I'm honest, but we'll persist with this one. Oh! Okay. This is why I don't like Microsoft Flight Simulator. It shouldn't turn off on its own like this. I was bang on the taxiway, and it's just turned off. Oh, there's some weird ghost here. Can you see that, guys? Oh no, it's the little window heat detectors. I thought it was the ghost of Fort McMurray. Vacating here. Let's get the yellow taxi line here. And no trumpets, no comment. Let's start the APU. We need to turn this on to main. Wait 10 seconds. Let me just find the checklist as well. Which actually, you know what? I should utilise the checklist in here to get the aircraft configured. So let's just go to checklist. We'll now go for after landing. Let's just follow this one here. Right. Yeah, so unfortunately we have to deal with default Microsoft Flight Sim taxi guidance. We'll take this stand here with the white line. I've never seen a white guiding line, but we'll take it. We'll get that APU up and running too. So APU start. There it goes. So APU's turning on. Speed brakes in. Lift dumpers are in. Flaps are up. Airfoil anti-ice switches can come off. Oh, this music. Engine anti-ice switches to off. Let's just get back on stand. We'll do the clean up here. This music. There we go. Right, parking brake is set. Oh, we didn't monitor the fuel situation. Well, we'll have a look on stand here. We've landed with 4 tons. So we started the day with 5.6. So we've burnt 1,600 kilos on this entire sector. And the trip was 1,800, so plus taxi. So trip taxi, we should have burnt a lot more. We've got 4. Yeah, we should have burnt 1,600. We've burnt 1,600. We should have burnt 2. So in fact, it's more conservative than what the flight plan says. Right, pitot and vane heating's off. Windshield heating is off as well. This can go from low to off. These can go off too. Still doing the flow in here. Gen 3 switch on. APU is running, so that can go on, and we can now shut the engines down. I didn't do the replay on the first one. There we are, it's gone on to the APU. Just make sure we're not discharging the battery. Yeah, it is on the APU. Radar transponder to standby. Yaw damping switch is off and gust lock on. I don't have much choice there, but gust lock is on. Engine fire warning test. Okay. After parking, this is us for through flight, which we are. Parking brake set, high pressure fuel valve shut, fasten seatbelts off. So they are here. We'll put the APU bleed air on so we can get some conditioned air into the cabin for the passengers. And we can turn one of those main switches off as well. There we go. Why we don't need to do that, I don't know, but it is here. Air conditioning main switch 1 off. Booster fuel pump switch is off. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the transit flow. Landing flare lights off. Anti-collision lights off. Nav lights, we'll keep those on. So taxi lights off. Anti-collision lights can come off. And there we are. We're now in the transit state. What I'll do is open the doors here. So input, no, cancel. 4 passengers. Love these noises. Open the cargo doors. Yeah, 4 tons of fuel on board. Makes a big crunch when it hits the bottom. There it goes. And we'll start disembarking. And what I'll do, I'll throw you guys to the B-Ride back screen. I'll take a quick 10-minute break, and then we'll get the aircraft all set up for the second sector to where we're going. Yellowknife. I want to say Yellowstone, but yeah, we're going to Yellowknife here. But if you enjoyed the stream, don't forget to smash the thumbs up button. We'll again try and go on the VATSIM network for the second sector, but I've had a lot of these little internet hiccups there. We'll see how we get on. And I'll be back in about 5-10 minutes, guys, for the second flight. See you then. Hello. Oh, was that my landing rate? Minus 215. I'll take that. Thanks for that little intermission, guys. Aircraft's all set up. Well, I say all set up. No, it's exactly as I left it. I've still left the APU running. I put some fuel on it for the next sector, the exact block amount. I've logged back onto VATSIM. Let's see, fingers crossed I don't have any of these little internet hiccups. For the members, I did post in live stream. Anyone could point me in a way of trying to get that fixed. That would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, we'll do the next sector to Yellowknife. Flight time around 1 hour 10 minutes, slightly longer. And we're going to try and do, in low visibility, because that's what it currently is right now, 3 statute miles, a VOR approach, runway 16 with a 45 180 degree procedural turn, which could be quite fun and exciting. So yeah, we'll have to see how that works later on. Let me just realise my chat's not displaying. There we are. But yeah, I hope you're all doing well and looking forward to flying with you this second sector. Right, let's jump on back in. Oops, what have I done here? Jump back into the aircraft. I've just realised the cabin music's still playing. Let me just turn that off, which it works. This is. I'll just turn that. I'm just going to turn that music down. Cheers, Spurious Podge. Thanks for your membership for 9 months. He says, "Hello, Captain and all. Is XP 12 now worth it? Your streams of the classic 747 have me intrigued." Yes, it's not still in sort of, what do they call it? I don't know what they exactly call it, but it has sort of been fully released, but they're still. Yeah, I think it is fully released, but it's, for me, I'm happy with how it is. Minus the lighting issue in the cockpit and a few other issues, but yeah, if you've got X-Plane 11, I'd say get rid of that and use X-Plane 12 because they're not going to support that anymore. And the aircraft like the Felis are working really, the Felis 747 is working really well. There's a Zebo mod update which I haven't yet to try, and the Flight Factor 757 we flew a couple of streams ago, there was issues with the flight controls with that, but I think that was more a Flight Factor issue as opposed to X-Plane 12. But yeah, it's worthwhile getting for the Felis alone. So, let's talk about the second sector. Now, our destination Yellowknife, made famous by Buffalo Airways, the cargo airline, we'll be departing from 08, the runway landed on, omnidirectional departure. It's called a Texel 1, straight ahead to 5,000 feet towards Texel, and then you'll be assigned a vector to your route. Lovely sort of, my sort of SID this is. So we'll climb straight ahead, left turn, and then we're going to fly up this airway from the VOR to Fort Smith VOR, Yankee Sierra Mike, then cross this large lake, who anyone would be able to tell me in chat what it's called, to Yellowknife, and then we're going to fly the VOR procedural approach onto runway 16 over the airfield. So yeah, flight time 1 hour 10 minutes, looking forward to it. What we're going to do, instead of following the PDF files following before, I'm sort of getting a little more familiar with it, but we're going to reference this checklist here, the pre-flight checklist. So electrical power on the APU, emergency lights are armed, constant speed drive disconnect switches are guarded, engine panel checked, bleed air supplies configured, the air conditioning panel is configured for this stage, the airflow anti-icing panel is checked, we don't want that on yet, and that's done, that's off, windshield heating can go to low, so that's in the low position. Fasten seatbelts, no smoking signs are on. We are fueled for this sector, so we're going to take the same amount of passengers, full load for this aircraft, so it's 65 passengers for the Dash 1000 variant. And you'll notice I put 3 tons on either wing. We're actually using the APU, so we've used a bit of a bit of fuel on the left side already. Now, if I grab my flight plan, you can see for this sector, it just happens to be exactly 6,000 kilos, so we can actually take that, see how the aircraft performs. The weather is okay at Yellowknife, low visibility, but we should be able to commit to that airfield. The alternate is to come back here. 3,057 kilos required, so 6 tons loaded for the fuel. Right, going back to this checklist then. It then says hold on, what's it gone to here? There we are. Nav set. Okay, so for departure, as mentioned, omnidirectional, and then we're going to intercept this airway. So I'll make a left turn to intercept it. It's the 339 outbound, so you can see I've got the courses set to 339 already, and the VOR is active 112.0. You can see down here, I don't think there's any DME with this VOR. Oh, there is, 3.5. So we'll just climb straight ahead, intercept the radial after departure, going northbound. So that's the nav aids all set. The V speeds we need to set for departure. So flap 11 again. So we'll select the flap 11 speed. There we are. The bugs are updated. So that's all good. Nav set, fire controls are guarded, fuel shut-off valves are open, GPDF system we've already checked, central warning and caution system tested, nose wheel steering's on, alternate brakes, we did this all on the first flight. Speed, altitude control system checked, static pressure select is normal, compass is in the slaved position, electric pump switches are guarded, we'll just make sure we've got sufficient brake pressure. We do, they are still pressurised from the first flight. Again, Tour and 4x4, very kind of you, thank you for your donation again, and pinged members. What's this?
I think Jim needs some CRM retraining after leaving you hanging on the last sector's takeoff and land.
He did. My workload was very high. He was in the back. No, I won't make that quip. He was in the back, not helping me or assisting me in any way, and he forgot to... I called gear up after takeoff, he left it down, and he was not monitoring my excessive rate of descent on final approach, saying, "Captain, what's your rate of descent?" Hopefully he'll be with me on the next one. Cheers to your donation there, Toro 4x4. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Right, where did we get to? Skidder control we've checked, electric pumps we've checked, indications are fine, hydraulic supply sufficient, fuel pressured lights we've done already, we'll just turn the pumps on prior to engine start. We checked the engine fire on TVI, caution lights, fuel quantity, we've got 6 tonnes which we've checked the gauges for. You can see, look, 3 tonnes aside, that's looking good. Speed brake flaps are up, crossfeed switches off, boost pumps we checked earlier, transfer pumps we don't need, light switches are on as we want. Autopilot system's good, GOS lock's on for start, and on the right hand instrument panel, Jim's checks are complete as well. There we go. Is that the after landing checklist I've just completed, or the pre-flight one? Yeah, it was the pre-flight, thank goodness for that. APU running then, circuit breakers checked, APU air is on, I think. Yeah, it's APU bleeds on. Windshield heating is set to low. That's all done. Skid control test.
Minimums.
I think that was the one that I was meant to follow. It's a little less detailed. There we are. We'll just go with the before starting engines one. Jonathan Wiltshire. Please find attached completed application CV for the position of first officer. Welcome aboard, Jonathan. You're replacing Jim for today's sector. Any problems? Blame it on you. Cheers. Seat harness runners are fine. Electrical power and bleed air supplies checked. We're on the APU. Brake pressures checked. Parking brake set. Fuel quantity checked. We've done all this. We just need to do the thrust index. So let's have a little look at the table for that. So elevation's 1,200 feet. Oh, I've just got to find them. There we go. So 1,200 feet, and the outside air temperature here in Fort McMurray is 19 degrees Celsius. So 1,200. 19 degrees Celsius, so I'd say it's about 163 temperature, 163, 167. Let's go for 165 for the thrust index. 165. So a little higher than we had earlier. So that means when it sets 100%, that's the thrust index thrust set, I think, but I'm not 100% sure how it works. But we follow the table at least. Right, thrust index set for departure. Oh my days, look at this, it's all getting everything set up, isn't it? Why does it scroll to the bottom when I'm over there? Nav age, ship's papers, takeoff data done, GOS lock removed. Windows and doors closed, so we'll remove the GOS lock. On the other checklist it says do that before taxi, but that's all done now. So anti-coal on, throttle's idle, and then the boost pump's on as well, so we'll do that here. Boost pump's on. Turn on the anti-coal, get the doors closed, and go from there. We're now ready for engine start. We'll leave it there, and I just want to get the doors closed. There we go. Don't know what happens if I push that one. Arm doors and cross check, that's worked, perfect. So we're ready for engine start. Just make sure I've got that all set up on the side here as well, and we'll get the engines up and running. So engine start, anti-coal and nav lights are on. We'll put the start master on. I think I forgot to turn it off earlier. And we'll start engine number 2. So starting engine number 2. It's doing stuff, so it looks like the aircraft's at least correctly configured for this. You want to increase in the HP at 15 to 20%. The HP fuel valve lever to start. Start. Crank up the sounds here. Oh, that was me. We'll just do the pushback after we've got the engine started. It wasn't working properly earlier. Monitor the oil pressure TGT rising, which it is. Once TGT reaches 400 or 50% HP, fuel shut-off valve to open. Fuel valve lever to open. Oof, maybe jump that did, the IDG going on the bus. Open. There you go, you can see. Ah, interesting. So moving the fuel valve from start to open pressurizes the hydraulic system. Interesting. Starting engine number 1. It's great. It's a really pretty aircraft, isn't it? So 50% HP, fuel going on. Stop altitude is 5,000 feet for departure, which I'll set there. I'll reset whatever that warning was. Now we have fuel open. So interesting, when you put the fuel open there isn't the second IDG going on the bus, or maybe it works differently in the electrical system on this aircraft, not so sure. Right, that's a good start there, so we can turn Gen 3 to off. We can now shut off the APU. Then we turn that to off. Both air conditioning switches to main. Or on, sorry. The anti-ice system can go to auto. Pitot vane heating to on. Check the hydraulics, make sure they're pressurized. They are. We're all in the green. Flaps again to 11. Verify the flight control light is extinguished and all the lights are extinguishers down there, which they are. Flight director can now come on to heading. Pitch up to 10 degrees. APU is shut off. And lift dumpers armed. And we turn the taxi light on. Yaw damping in. And next is just the taxi light for taxi, which I'll turn on now, but then we'll just use the default pushback to get the aircraft going. There we are, that's on. Right, let's just try. We'll just do Shift P again. It was obviously messing around, no audio earlier, so I'm going to select reverse, release the parking brake. That'll do. Oh, a tug has appeared. Well, we're going without you, sir. Or maybe it's going to spawn onto my aircraft. APU air off. Well spotted if I left that on. Well spotted. I was just testing you there, Winky. Well done, Winky Zero. You passed the test. Welcome aboard, Eoconio. Thanks for subscribing. So I think taxi here, we're going to have to backtrack. What's that tug doing? Actually, we shouldn't need to backtrack. We can do it in section partial. I was just looking at the charts here. We can take off from Bravo. Oh well, tug has appeared. Right, I'll get him to spit me out here. There we go, parking brake. Oh, I can press that to set it. There we are. So the aircraft's already configured for taxi. We'll just make sure the tug moves away, and we'll go from there. A glitch from the Matrix, yes. Right, parking brake we can now release. Let's go to Yellowknife. It's going to be cool, this approach. 45 degree, 180 degree procedural turn. I've never done one in real life. fingers crossed. I've not had an internet hiccup for about half an hour here. Now I've said it. You watch, it'll be on takeoff. Pablos says, this is a stream of a professional pilot. I'm going to assume that's how tugs work in real life. Yes, everything you see is... it's unparalleled realism. Perfect. Next left. Just check the surface wind here now. It's definitely going to be 08 for departure. Latest surface wind 120 at 9 knots. Perfect. So we'll do the taxiing checklist as it's called here by Just Flight. So flight instruments check and set trim. I did that prior to the start. Did the automatic trim. Collector tank indicators blank. They're these little lights here. Make sure they're black. Flaps are set. Crew briefing complete. So we'll do a little crew briefing for you guys now. So the departures are Texel 1, and we'll be doing intersection departure shortly. It's unless otherwise assigned by ATC, climb track 075 to Texel, then track 075 for vectors to assign route. So we're going to climb straight ahead, runway heading, and then when we get to, what's it, 1200, we'll get to 2,200 feet, 1,000 feet AGL. We're just going to make that left turn to intercept the Juliet 519 airway, radial 339 northbound towards Daxon, and then when we get closer to the VOR over here, Yankee Sierra Mike will tune that at Fort Smith. So that's the departure. All are reviewed, and we're pretty much ready for departure. We'll just wait here at the whole point for a second. Study level pushback tug. There we go. We might bring it to a stop at the whole point. And parking brake is set. I'm actually logged on for some so yes. So before takeoff checklist, let me just make sure the aircraft's correctly configured. So steward call. Perfect. So we're going to put the transponder to out on, which it is. Lights coming on. Why so many light switches? Strobes on. Cabin is secure. We're ready for departure. So parking brake released. Just make sure we're on Unicom here. We are. So it's now Canadian Regional 2 Yankee Kilo, lining up taking off runway 08 at Fort McMurray. There we go. So we'll note the takeoff time. Oh, look at that, on the hour. Oh, what is it? It's going to be bang on the hour at 1700 Zulu. And we're going to level off at 5,000 feet like we did in the last departure. I'll try to remember to raise the gear this time. Or Jim will, I mean. Turned a little bit too early there. I forgot what aircraft I was in. Wonderful. Lovely lineup. Right, so excuse my hands. I'm going to get a bit wonky. So I'm holding the brakes here, which is what I've got it assigned to. I'm going to set exactly 100% here. Wait until it says thrust stabilised. It says in the hold it on the brakes on the tutorial. So the thrust needle's alive, going for 100%.
Power set.
There we are, 100%. 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go to Yellowknife, forward pressure. Checked, release forward pressure. A bit of left rudder coming in here.
Rotate.
Hands off, up we go. Now we're airborne.
Positive climb. Gear up.
Gears going up. Verified. God, this class got so much performance. We're just going to hold it. Ooh, what's that? What is that sound? I don't like it. Maybe it was my attitude of being high.
Flaps up.
Flaps up. There's 1,000 feet AGL. Let's make that left turn to intercept the airway. Set myself a heading. God, it's got so much performance. It's great. No, hold on. Oh, that's fine. I forgot the VOR is to the other side of us. That's why. So that heading's fine. I forgot the VOR is to the east of the airfield. So I just want to set the heading here. We've got 1,000 feet to go. see here, so we'll level off here and accelerate to 250 knots. Whoa, look at that rate of climb. That'll make you feel sick, levelling off. 5,000 feet, that is the stop altitude on the SID. I'm having to trim nose down. I'll accelerate to 250. Oh, that's gone quickly. I forgot how close I am to the VOR. So I've just overshot the radial slightly. Just trying to do a million things at once. Just get back down to 5,000 feet. Oh, so because look, if you look at the DME here from the VR, I'm only 0.9 miles away. So I'm just going to fly in a straight line for a short while, in the direction of the needle, or 4.3. There we are. So now it's a slight left turn, back to 5,000 feet, and just gone past 250 knots there. Oh no, I've not quite bugged 250. Let's just get established on the radial first and go from there. No, the F28 is very powerful, and remember this is the 1000 variant, so it's got so much performance available. It's a lot lighter than the longer versions, of course. So we're just almost coming on there. We're flying from. There we are. Just overshot the radar. I forgot the VOR was to the east, so when I started turning, I was about to turn back towards the airfield. Now we are pretty much on the HSI now. We're maintaining 5,000 feet, about 230 knots. We're all in trim. Not quite. Just get some trim nose down there. It flies really nicely. There we are, 5,000 feet on the HSI. So, autopilot's coming in. There we go. We can go to Vorlock, beam, green's engaged, indicated airspeed, hold, we'll go up to our cruise level now, which is 30,000 feet. Indicated airspeed, and we'll set the climb. Thrust. Oh, at least on climb from the previous sector. There we are, 100%. No more than 470. Indicated airspeed holds engaged, and we can now do the after takeoff checklist. So let's use the one here. Landing gears up, yes. Flaps, make sure they're all the way up. That actually works, which is why we do checklists. Lift uppers are in. Climb power set. God, this aircraft. I keep forgetting there's another natural flops to go in this thing. Climb power set. Landing and flare out lights off and retract. There we are, retract. Retract. We'll turn these off at 10,000 feet. Engine is also pressurization. Set that as well. I'm all over the place today. It's such a tough aeroplane to remember what to do on everything here. So 31,000 feet, we set 1,000 feet above. Aircraft is pressurising, so we'll keep an eye on it. Fasten seatbelts, we'll leave them on for now. After takeoff checks complete. Right, the flaps are up, yes. We should be checking the charts. Established outbound on the Juliet 519. There we go. Bye-bye, Fort McMurray. Who knows when we'll ever visit you again virtually. So where's this DME coming from? I've got 17 miles and 4.0. That's the time. That's why. I can't remember that last time. Right, there's 10,000 feet, so we're going to go to pitch. I'm going to use the pitch blue trim nose down switch to set about 1,000 feet per minute. We'll bug 270 knots. Let the aircraft accelerate to that speed, then go back to indicated airspeed hold. So there's 1,000 feet per minute. The lights can come off. AP's off, pressurization is set, so the diff is 4.0, cabin altitude slowly climbing, so we are pressurizing. Belts no smoking off, checks complete. We'll just lower that nose slightly more, we'll be doing 1,000 feet per minute. There we are, there's the white bar coming up to 270, it's about there. There we are, bang on 270, indicated airspeed hold. There we are, check's complete. Is there a button blind for the autopilot pitch? I went reading through the manual last night and couldn't find it. There is, Spurious Podge. You need to go to... It is in the manual. I won't show you now, but I'll just bring up yoke cam. On the yoke I have two switches, one for the regular trim and one, the Y switch to the right, which I've set here. I think it's called autopilot pitch trim in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So you can see, look, moving that manipulates that switch, which is great for when you're actually, look. Yeah, look, if you manipulate the switch, it goes straight to the pitch mode, so just be wary of that if you want to maintain speed. If you push it, it'll revert to pitch. That's good to know, actually. I don't have to actually select pitch, I can just move the little pitch switch. But yes, it is in Microsoft Flight Simulator, the command. Just monitor the temperatures here. 470, that's fine. Fuel. We started off with 6 tons. We're burning through it now at about 2. What's that? About 2,750 a side. You're welcome, Spurious Podge. Good luck. So as we fly along the Juliet 519 airway here, we'll get the next VOR tuned, which is Yankee Sierra Mike, Fort Smith, 112.4. Put that in box 2. Not identified yet, it's a little bit too far out. Winky, thank you very much. There you go, Spurious Podge. Look for increase autopilot pitch hold reference, decrease autopilot pitch hold reference. That rings a bell, rings a bell. Brilliant. So, we'll have a little look later, we'll brief this in full, and we'll have time with the cruise. This is the approach we're going to fly. VOR runway 16, they do have ILSs here at Yellowknife, but the wind's coming from the south, and so we're going to fly this. It's a 45 180 degree approach. I mean, who flies these still? I mean, I've never done one in a 7.3. I don't think I ever did one during my instrument rating, but I was having a look at the PANZOPS rules procedure to remind me of the rules of how to do procedure turns. So direct entry sector, when we get to 5.2 miles from the VOR, we make a right turn, 45 degrees 019. The timing is 1 minute 15 seconds for a Cat C aircraft, and you start the timing from the start of the turn. After 1 minute 15, we do a left turn 199, and so we're on the 154 radio. It'll be good fun to try. And then we're going to descend from there 5.2 miles down here, and we're going to use the pitch mode. We're going to use the pitch mode to fly this. See how we get on. Level off at the MDA, and hopefully there'll be a runway ahead of us. It's slightly offset, but it'll be good. Elliot Smith, wish they still filmed Ice Pilots. Great show. Yeah, but one of the younger guys has a YouTube channel, and he uploads videos about the Ice Pilots. They've just bought, I think, a 737-400 from, it was an old UK airline, actually. I think they're about to fly it over. Hi John, in Canada we still have approaches at the smaller airports, though we're replacing them with GPSR now. It's crazy. I don't think I've ever seen a 45 180 in Europe. They're called hockey pucks. We'll try it today. We'll try it today. Demonstrator, evening, trying to make up for the missing out on React with X-Plane 12 and the A321 1.6. Yeah, it was a bit of a washout, I think, on Friday and Saturday, but I think today the conditions been flying for flying been a little better. I was considering going at one point, but I didn't in the end. But I've got a friend there, and I've been seeing his pictures he's been sharing. I think on Friday or Saturday morning it was a complete washout. Very windy, heavy rains. It's awful weather in the UK at the moment. Very changeable. 1 minute sunny, next you've got CB and thunderstorms with strong winds. Right, past 20,000 feet. It's set standard now. 013 set, cruising up to flight level 300. Still waiting to pick up the VOR to the north at Fort Smith. So flat, isn't it? There's a lot of oil pumping going on around here, isn't there? I don't think that's looking very Minecrafty over there. Definitely don't have default on. Pretty much John Alexander, to be fair, yeah. But the rest of Europe is basking in extreme heat, as is, I think, most of the United States as well. Isn't it something like in Arizona 45, 46 degrees? That's where I did my CPL. Ooh, running a little hot there, guys. Want to be at 470, just reduce a bit of thrust. There we go. You can hear, if I haven't quite got the engines right, you get this little vibration. Otherwise, the weather here is really nice. But this gets very cold in the winter, doesn't it? Really cold. Those big sand areas are probably open cast mines. There's a lot of minerals in Canada. Pilots can do survey work there quite regularly. There we go. That must be one of them here. It's so sparsely populated. There's just such few built-up areas. I mean, if I turn on the VFR map here, I mean, we've just left Fort McMurray, which wasn't exactly a large, like a large settlement, but it was the biggest one on our route, where we started from Edmonton. We've got a couple of lakes here. Embers Portage we're flying over. Lake Athabasca. This one doesn't seem to have a name. And then over the Fort Smith one. The river, does this have a name? The Slave River? Oh, is it the lake up here called... Yeah, Great Slave... Is it Slav or Slave? There's Yellowknife. Awesome route. Right, better get the high airway charts on, because we're on the Juliet 519. Airway. Aircraft's performing well. It's slave like slaves. Got you. Got you. Tips, it's not so much pumping, it's digging up oil mixed in with sand. Fighter, would you say PMDG has less accurate flight dynamics than other aircraft in Microsoft Flight Simulator? I think there might be some truth in that. The numbers work in the PMDG. You set your pitch, you set your power, and the PMDG gives you what the real aircraft does, which is great. Takeoff, landing, general handling is average, I'd say. I'd put that more down to the sim. I've said it a million times, you guys know how much I like how aircraft handle in X-Plane. So yeah, it's good, but it's better. There's even one's better. That's my opinion. I could be biased, you could argue, but yes, it's the PMDG. The general handling's not. You set the pitch and power, you get what you want, which is great. But yeah, takeoff and the rotation and landing and crosswind landing and takeoffs is not realistic at all. Whereas when I did the tutorials on crosswind and takeoff landings for the 737 in the mod, it was very, very good within the confines of a desktop simulator. Very good. Mark Drilling, loving the stream. Thank you very much, buddy. I don't know if you're a colleague of mine, but I can see you looking very smart in your uniform at work. John, oh well, I never thought I'd see a flight with Flight Sim going up the Slave River. Something new every day. Very good. Did you do some flying around here, buddy? Got a few guys who did here already. Talking about the humidity, Aaron and Mr. Minia, that is always what kills you. Flying Flynn, do you think that is a PMD issue or a Microsoft Flight Sim flight model issue? I think it's a combination of both. Now, I've been flying this little jet around. I've obviously never flown an F28, and its handling characteristics are going to be different, especially when you configure flaps and gear to, say, a 737 with tail-mounted engines. Well, this we're having tail-mounted engines as opposed to a 7.3. But I like how it flies. It's really nippy. It's sort of how I'd expect an aircraft of this size to fly. Whereas the PMDG on final and the flare and takeoff, again, it could be I need to adjust and sit down and play with my settings more. So yeah, I think Microsoft Flight Simulation's improved in that area. Neither's perfect. In a desktop simulator, you're never going to exactly mirror how an aircraft behaves, but X-Plane, in my opinion, does a better job. Having said that, we've discussed this many times before. This sim has a lot more to offer to a consumer of flight simulation, of a flight sim product. You know, setting up this stream, I didn't have to download Ortho 4XP, activate any plugins on the site. This is just Microsoft Flight Simulator, and when the autopilot's in here, flying aircraft with the procedures. Look at this. I've got gauge sun reflection. It looks phenomenal. The FPS performance I get in the sim is excellent. So I can see why people love this sim much more than X-Plane. And every time I go into X-Plane, I'm always like, oh, this aircraft handles so nicely. But yeah, I couldn't do this and enjoy the flights as much as I would in X-Plane, I think, sort of looking at the views. Fly high simulations, hey, I love the content. You do. I'm from Alberta. I recommend flying to equally in Nunavut. My pronunciation is probably completely wrong there. It has great default custom scenery for Microsoft Flight Simulator and real-world flights from Montreal. Very cool. I shall perhaps consider that for a future stream. I have a lot of destination requests from members, and I have a whole server for that, or channel for that in the members Discord. And I looked through it today, and I thought, you know what? I really want to go to Yellowknife. I've heard of Yellowknife. I know it's Buffalo Airways. Where's near Yellowknife where I could start? Oh, Edmonton. Okay, Edmonton to Yellowknife. Oh, I think I might do a 2-sec today. Where's in between here? It's got a largish airport with a procedural approach, although we did the visual today. Oh, it's Fort McMurray. Never heard of this place. Let's do that for a stream. I love sitting down and planning these streams. Really do enjoy it. Spurious PMDG will probably try and blame Microsoft Flight Sim for everything. Because PMDG, they're an old school developer. Unlike Just Flight, who are communicative and helpful as a developer. Just Flight, I think, they're 146 at this. They're really making some great classic aircraft for Microsoft Flight Sim. I mean, I know PMDG is an excellent add-on, and it's the best 737 in Microsoft Flight Sim. It's NG. Well, I don't think there's any others, but it is excellent. Having said that, this EFB update is a bit of a meme now, isn't it? And they don't seem to actually put their hands up and say, actually, you know, we've made a mistake here, or something's wrong with our aircraft. It's very important to be modest, and I make plenty of mistakes streaming all the time, and I always put my hand up and go, no, that's me. No one's perfect. In fact, far from it, and it's important that you recognise that. And when something's not working, that you actually say, yeah guys, this isn't working properly, we'll send an update, instead of just blaming it on something else. Right, there we are, flight level 300. We've picked up the other VOR now as well, which is great, the Yankee Sierra Mike, which is going to reduce thrust now to fly cruise speed. In fact, using the DME speed is great for fine-tuning the thrust, because you can see any trends instantly. So I can just reduce a bit of thrust. This is what I mean about parasitic drag, though. If I was to set thrust, it would increase several knots more before the drag would sort of be equal to thrust. I just don't like the parasitic drag model in Microsoft Flight Sim. I notice it in all the aircraft. Right, anyway, the speed looks pretty stable there. I'll leave that thrust where it is. Look at that, bang on 414 knots. Now, that shouldn't change much, unless there's a change of wind, obviously, which is generally slowly over time, unless you're descending or climbing. And we'll tune the next VOR, which is Yankee Sierra Mike, so I'm just going to go to heading select. Put altitude hold on here. So heading, next VOR is 1124. They're both on box 1. There we are, 93 miles inbounds. We'll just check the airway radial. So this is Fort Smith. The inbound here is, or the outbound is 157. So it's going to be. I'll give you a quick rule of thumb, guys. If you ever want to find the reciprocal heading or track for a radial, here's the quick way of doing it. You add 200, subtract 20. It's far easier and quicker to do that. So 157, add 200, 357, minus 20 is 337. So that's the inbound course we want, 337. That's the quick and easy way of doing it. So 337 and back to beam. There we are, green, green. We're inbound now to Yankee Sierra Mike, the Fort Smith VOR. And then when we fly over there, we'll fly inbound to the next one, start setting up for the approach. Time to the VOR is 12 minutes. Yeah, they should probably admit that they're underperforming in the EFB area. Yeah, they should. Fun fact, when Zebo wanted to introduce the EFB to the Zebo mod, 4 or 5 years ago when I started flying, it didn't have an EFB. And then I remember him saying to me and a few other the people in the team, said, "Oh, I'm going to make an EFB for the 737." He said this in the morning, and in the afternoon, he made an EFB. It was there. I mean, of course, the full functionality wasn't there, but there was an EFB modelled in 3D, ready to go, and you could already load up Avitab, bring your charts up. I was like, oh, okay. He just did it in a day. I was like, okay, well, there you go. Captain Sim's the best 777, really. So yes, you should read the EFB update that explains why it's taken longer than they planned. Quite interesting to a non-developer. Okay. But yes, it's become a meme, hasn't it? But one day we'll get this EFB and we'll do a dedicated stream for said device. Captain Shaquille Oatmeal says, so why not just plus or minus 180? It's easier, Captain, for your brain to process whole numbers as opposed to sort of 180. If I was to tell you what's 141 minus 180, it takes a bit more time to process, whereas if you do a whole number then 20, it's easier. It's sort of just for your memory easier to just sort of chunk it into whole numbers. There we are. Look at this part of the world though. It's so fun to visit some different places virtually. Let's see where we are. I'm cheating. There we are. Huge lakes here. Just think, in our lifetime, guys, we'll never set foot here. Oh, we might do. One of you might do. Huge. Unexplored world. Just use the game. All that, James Rita. But you can't do that on your IR test or your hand flying whilst running the radios and navigating. Oh. Slightly exceeding MMO. See what I mean? This is what I mean about Microsoft Flight Simulator, right? I set the speed and it's been slowly increasing. I'm just going to reduce thrust now. It's been slowly accelerating another sort of 10 knots, even though it was stable. As you accelerate, the parasitic drag increases very quickly. Yeah, we're going right up to 7.5 there, which is MMO. We'll do about 7.1. I love how we approached it really slowly, and it was very intermittent. That was really cool. Taxis outside. Brilliant, Elliot. Oh dear. Well, we'll get it back to 7.0. So if I leave this now, we'll fall out of the sky. I'm just going to monitor that and go from there. See, I only had a tiny amount of thrust. Look at it accelerate. Just go a little slower. That warning sound is hilarious. It does sound like a 1970s car horn. Right, there we go. Right, let's add thrust now. Take a bit off. Right. So 397.7 knots. And it's stable. Look at that. Bang on. lost 0.1 of a knot in about 10 seconds. So we're going to leave that there, monitoring it. Hopefully it shouldn't change too much. Right, that'll do. So yeah, you know, as you accelerate, parasitic drag increases at higher speeds quite quickly. At the square of airspeed. Right, that's free. That's fine. That's fine. Right. Anyway, what we should be doing is getting the idents for all the VORs. But I've tried doing this. I've turned up the sort of volume here, this knob up, but I don't think there's any ident sounds. I don't know if it, maybe there's a switch I need to turn on here to pick up the oral ident. You should always check them before using them. There we go, a bit cloudy over Fort Smith. As we get close to the VOR, we'll tune up the next radio. In fact, we can put that in box 2 now. The next VOR, which we're going to use, is the actual one for the approach. It's the Yellowknife VOR 15.5. So we'll tune that in box 2. And we're out of range, which I'd expect. Also, I want to do a fuel check over this VOR. Oh yeah, annoyingly I missed... Is there a way to set this to DME 1? This is all based off DME 2. I like this because obviously you get all the additional information which you don't get off DME 1. Is there a way to select this to DME 1? Oh, let's test. Uh-oh. I've broken it. Oh dear. Is it down on the pedestal, the volume? You know what it could be? Oh! Nav one's in. Yeah, it is right, it is down there, but it doesn't seem to be picking up anything anyway. I love this colour coding. So there's the push to talk switch. That should latch to intercom. It's not. Beautiful. Have a little look out the window. Taxis outside. Big, is that where there's a lot of grizzly bears down there? Before anyone says why these not spinning, it's because they're not meant to. These are inlet guide vanes, so it directs the air into the correct part of the engine. It's on the 200, I think. It's on the Tupolev. 727 has them as well. Beautiful. There's still a few 717s bumbling around, isn't there? I think Volaterre was Europe's biggest operator of them, but I think they're phasing them out for the Airbus. Right, fingers crossed then. We've not had, for this sector, a single internet hiccup. It's been absolutely fine for about an hour. So I can't believe it. These things just don't happen. What on earth is going on? Literally, I've had nothing for like an hour, hour and a half, no problems. Start mentioning it, and someone's outside, a little leprechaun or something, he just pulled out the cable and got it. Unbelievable. I just cannot believe it. Just no. That is not funny. See a DSM rail in aviation. It's back. It's just weird. It goes and then comes straight back. Literally everything disconnects. My laptop, I can see the stream freeze. VATSIM disconnects, I lose the Microsoft Flight Sim services, so it's definitely an issue my side. And then it's 5 seconds, and then it just comes back. I just don't understand what's causing it. It's just really annoying for you. It's fine for normal internet usage and stuff, but for streaming it just isn't usable. Anyway, we're approaching the Yankee Sierra Mike VOR here. We'll do a fuel check as well, see how the burn is. So we're going to probably be about just the south of it. There we are. Next outbound course here. Let me just bring the pie charts up. 320. Unbelievable. I cannot believe that. Heading. I'll give myself a little turn here to intercept the outbound. So watch the RMI. The RMI is pointing directly at the VOR. When that's at 90 degrees, we'll pass the beam and then will give us an intercept heading for the outbound from Yankee Sierra Mike. I've got the Yellowknife VOR tuned on box 2, so as soon as we pick that up, we can start planning our descent. I already did a face reveal during that outage. I did. Gutted to review. Oh, what's that white dot? Go away, Microsoft Flight Sim. At least you don't have to restart the streaming machine every so often like Flying Fabio. A streaming machine? I have it all on one PC. Anyway, this thrust setting's working out quite nicely. Anyway, there we are, passing the VOR. Look, probably turned a little early, but so be it. This heading will be good to intercept at the other side. The flooded some stream outages. What is causing it? Oh. I just seen on Discord. Yeah, okay. I'll try a fix for this. Someone said it could be the actual fibre line. Halfway. Remo Van Zigger, welcome aboard, buddy. Glad you joined the content. You get invited to our members only Discord. I hope you enjoy using the customization chat. Thank you very much for the support. There we are, just past the VOR. You can see the RMI is turning around. I've just realised there's also an indicator here. This is wonderful. I wish every HSI had this. Look at this. This actually having the like an RMI needle gauge on here is great, so you can sort of see when you're lined up with the radial. That's really cool. I love this. I've never seen that on a HSI. That's great. I'll go a little bit more to the right here. We'll do a little field check as well. Let's see how the aircraft burn compares to... Oh. Well, that's failed. Well. I'm sorry about these little freezes, guys. Trying to also... I can't seem to scroll up on here. I don't know why. So I can't actually bring the flight plan up to do a check. How do I scroll up on this? I can't. Anyway, I'll just grab the PDF for it because I want to do a fuel check here. Right, we need to intercept this radial as well. Let me just give it a few more degrees to the right. Reconnect to VATSIM. Let's grab the operational flight plan. So, having just overflown Yankee Sierra Mike, I've grabbed the OFP. Let's close this, close this. So we took off on the hour, 36 minutes, and it's now 37, so time's perfect. We should have 4 tons on board, so 2 tons aside really. Let's check the fuel. So yeah, it's a little conservative, the flight plan, so we've actually got 2.4 tons, so we saved about 400 kilos. We should have burnt 2,000, we've actually burnt about 1,600. So over a longer flight, we're sort of saving about 400 or 500 kilos an hour. So we just need to jig the sim brief profile, at least to make it match what this aircraft's giving us. Right, we'll select beam now. We're established on the outbound radial. Cheers, voter. Yeah, it's just annoying. It went well for a long period of time. Yeah, I love this on the HSI. That's awesome. Just Flight, the modelling of this is really good. So many little things they've modelled. I'd love to know what that's called on the HSI, which essentially adds the RMI to it. Right then, so we're outbound now from Yankee Sierra Mike. Next is the Great Slave Lake over towards Intots, and then we're going to fly the VR approach, so hopefully we'll pick that up soon. So let's start setting up for this approach. There isn't a huge amount we can do at this stage. We can only set courses later on. But the weather is sort of... Just turn the music off here for a second. Let's grab the charts. Information, weather. So look at this. Two statute miles. What's the visibility I need here? Okay. Why does this happen to me on the stream? Right, Americans and Canadians. Is this the visibility required in statute miles? 1 3/4. My actual visibility is 2. Oh, I'm going to be flying this approach for the first ever time in anger. In marginal conditions. Great. Well, it's legal. I can fly the approach. 2 statute miles is the visibility required for the VR approach. It's 1 3/4. So it's going to be hard to see. We're going to level off at the MDA nice and early and look out for an airport. The good news is the VR is pretty much over the airport. So we know it's sort of 2.3 miles to the VR, needs to be at 1280 feet. And the elevation here is about 600. I think. Let me just go to general. Oh, we just picked up the VR now, look. 600 feet. So this 2.3 miles, we want to be 600 feet above the ground, which is around the minimums. So 2.3, we've got to be visual. That's the missed approach point. And if at 2.3 we're not visual, we've got to fly this missed approach, and then we'll fly an ILS. This is going to be more fun though. Right. So let me just get both the VORs tuned to Yellowknife. Go to heading. Why is it so? The visibility is so poor. Yellowknife 15.5. I'm just going to fly it inbound to the VOR directly. 318 is fine. Forelock. Beam. At the present speed, we'll be overhead Yellowknife at 18 minutes. Probably going to be around 21, 22 minutes by the time we start descending. So let's have a look at this. Let's aim to be overhead the VOR. What's the MSAI? It's no terrain issues. 2,200. So let's aim to be at the VOR at 5,000 feet. Keep the maths simple. So we've got to lose 25,000 feet. When we're 75 miles from Yellowknife, we'll start our descent. So what we're going to do, fly over the VOR. From the VOR 5,000 feet, we'll descend outbound 334 until 5.2 miles. We could descend to 2,200 feet at that time. So we'll just do 1,000 feet per minute. We'll level off at 2,200 nice and early. When we're 5.2 miles away, we'll start this 45-180 procedural approach. So you can look this up online. PANSOPS. Ooh, where's the aircraft going? It's making me nervous. It's turning. PANSOPS procedures for this. I've never done it in real life, but it's 45-180. You fly outbound. You start the turn at the distance, and you start the timing at the turn. And the timing for Cat CD aircraft is 1 minute 15. Cat AB is 1 minute. Outbound 019, and then 180 degree turn, intercept the 154 inbound. So we'll quickly rotate the HSI round. And then we'll maintain 2,200 feet until we're 5.2 miles. We're going to get dirty early, gear down, flat 46, nice and level. Just allow us to get our ground speed worked out. We can get our ground speed from the DME actually, and we can work out our rate of descent required. So I think when we pass the distance, we'll just set 1,000 feet per minute. We're going to use the pitch hold feature of this aircraft to fly a rate of descent. Again, I'm happy to get to the MDA nice and early. I can level off at this height, 1280. So I'll set 610 on the radio altimeter. You wouldn't set any radio altimeter height here in reality. But 610, where are you? Oh no, well I can't. I need to turn this off, really. Ooh, this is so cool. I like testing that. Alright, well, if I'll just set that to 0. And that way it'll sort of give me a call out going down there. So, yeah, a manual all the way. I'll see, John, I'll see. That's going to be really hard in this desktop sim. I'm utilising the automation to lower my capacity. But yeah, that's what we're going to do. Outbound 45 180, inbound 5.2, start descending to the MDA. Remember, an MDA is a minimum descent altitude. You cannot go lower than this height. This is the absolute minimum height you can go. So it technically level off at 1320 at my operator to allow us any sort of descent, but we're going to level off early here. And it's only 600 feet above the ground. And as I said, if we can't see anything at 2.3 miles, we have to initiate the missed approach. Look at that, safe altitude within 100 miles is 2,900. It's so flat. And it's offset as well, 5 degrees offset, so we're going to be looking for the runway out of one of the left, out the right hand side. Yeah. Oh, I don't like JEPI charts. Is the missed approach distance this? 2.3? It has to be. 1280, 600 feet, yeah, and then continue descending visually. I'll just level off at the MDA nice and early and squint and look out the look outside. Right, let's set the landing flat 42 again, and then I'll update those bug speeds now back to 0.7, but the white bugs are all correctly set now. And this is going to be very fun indeed. I've not practiced this. Is it 2.3? Why go around at 2.3? Well, I think if I just do the CDA, I'm just trying to work out what DME distance do I have to go around at on the chart, John Alexander. Where is the missed approach point here? Here, I guess, the white star. I mean, you can technically go around any time, but if you're visual, I'm just trying to think of what we have to go. Is it 2.3 miles going to be? Oh, you're right. Where is the missed approach point here? Oh, it's over the VOR. Got you, got you. So JEPI charts, I don't use JEPI charts, we use NavBlue, which are much better than Jeppesen. The missed approach point is actually overhead the VOR. You've just got to maintain the MDA until you see the runway. If you don't, you just maintain the height, 1280, until you're overhead the VOR. And then when you overhead the VOR, you fly the missed approach. But if you've overhead the VOR at that height, you're not going to be able to land. This is going to be so much fun. JEPI charts, yeah, I'm just not a fan of them. I just find them, the information, how it's presented, I've not used them for years. We used to have them on operator, but we now have NavBlue, and they're so much easier to sort of clear, especially the aerodrome charts, much better. Yeah, John, I mean, when we fly commercially in Europe and the 7.3, all approaches we fly with VNAV, with the FMC, so you don't have any of this sort of like level off, right, where's the airport, oh there it is, carry on descending. You do a CDA fixed descent rate until you get to the minimums for all approaches. So on this one obviously you level off and then look for the airport, yeah, obviously in my head all non-precision approaches we continue down the vertical profile in VNAV, which is the correct glide path angle for whatever it is. When we get to the minimums, you go around, and that glide path angle puts you perfectly on the approach 9 out of 10 times. So that's what is in my head. What we do at minimums, we just initiate the go around straight away. But looking at the chart here, if you do stay at the on the correct glide path all the way down with height distance cross checks, it sort of puts you on the sort of correct angle, maybe a tad high, but yeah, the runway threshold's at 0.6 DME, look, 0.6 DME. Yeah, stop and start is viewed as dangerous and poor airmanship. Yeah, you can do it, but I agree with you. Doing a continuous descent's a lot more efficient and safer. We'll try it today. I mean, I'm just going to dive towards the runway. As soon as I see I'm just going to dive towards the runway. Right, 5 miles till top of descent. Again, if anyone can remind me before I mess this up. The elevation is 675 feet. What do I set? 675 feet here or the big needle? And this one as well. I genuinely don't know what I think. Or is it this one we set? Is that what we set to the elevation? I won't touch it. Do you have a preference between the 146 or the Fokker F28? I know this has only been out a few days, but I prefer the 146, I think, as an aircraft. I think I'm going to like the Avro even more because it's easier. You're going to have all the screens and an FMC. I know both of these are getting an FMC, which would be great for online flying. We'll have to see. Anyway, there's our top descent point. Let's set that height we discussed, 5,000 feet. Oh, goodness me. Indicated airspeed hold will reduce the thrust to 80% HP until 25,000 feet. No less, as quoted in the manual, until 25,000 feet. To ensure sufficient pressurization, and I'll use the speed brake if I need to descend a little quicker, which I do. 10 minutes until we get overhead the VOR. Just watch our rate of descent, 3,000 feet to a minute. 10 minutes to lose 25,000 feet, 2,500 feet per minute. Brad, Ontario resident, very cool you're flying. Canadian Regional, yes we are. Check it out. Now, was this airline obviously defunct, or was it renamed or rebranded or bought out? What on earth is this? Is this for you to hang your clothes to dry after each turnaround? I'm joking, obviously. But I genuinely don't know what that's for. See, to pick up some sort of radio signal. Bought out by Air Canada, okay. Oh, it's the ATF receiver, is it? No way. Bought by Air Canada in 2001 along with Canadian Regional and all of its subsidiaries. Eventually that became Air Canada Jazz. Very cool. Oh, it's very smooth here. Oh, look at the weather ahead, though. I can see why it's 2 statute miles visibility. So if I have to go around, it's gear up, flap 28, and the missed approach altitude is climb to 2,200 feet on radio 154, right turn to the VOR, and then what we'll do, we'll probably fly an ILS, because it's going to help me get into the minimum disclosure. But yeah, non-precision VOR, no problems. Wi-Fi antenna, said Squizzle. Brilliant. Stay that speed brake slightly. It's such a massive speed brake. God, you can see it pitching up already. Look at that difference it makes in indicated airspeed pitch hold. Right, I'm just going to check the weather. We might get an approach ban. Two statute miles smoke, broken at 3,200 feet, 20 degrees. Just smoky, smoky. Use the cabin altitude knob to set the big needle to field elevation. Thank you. So it is the big needle. Oh, it's pretty much set already then. 675 feet. There you go. Yeah, it's all pressurised properly anyway. Look, diff pressure 5 psi. The cabin altitude is slowly climbing. And the cabin altitude's actually increasing. We'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, it's probably just keeping it around was that 6,500 feet? Oh yeah, we can actually reduce thrust to idle now. We're below. That's normal. That's the gear warning horn as I reduce thrust. Perfect. So 21,000 feet. We need to get to 5,000 feet. Using 16,000 feet. We're about 8 minutes away. So we need to be doing about 2,000 feet per minute, which we're doing. Oh, you oh. So you set... Oh, right. So you literally rotate this all the way around to 650. Oh, got you. Oh, that's looking a little better. So that big needle is what you set to the elevation. Got you. John Alexander, you'll be fine. Still within the recommended distances. What is your alternate, by the way? Alternate is to return to Fort McMurray. And we took standard fuel. Let's see what fuel we need actually to divert. Well, I would if this was working. I can't seem to scroll. Maybe if I refresh it. No. Not to worry. I think I can get it on here, can't I? Of course. Alternate 3.1 tons to divert to Fort McMurray and arrive with FinRes. 30 minutes of fuel. And we've got 4 tons on board, so we're okay for a bit. I took standard fuel, but this is burning less fuel, what the flight plan's saying. I haven't heard anything formally about the RJ. So fasten seatbelts on, pressurisation is set now. TTC switches to takeoff. I forgot to do last sector. Crew briefing completed. Next is approach checklist. So maintaining about 260 knots at the moment. Into the muck we go. Wish me luck with it. I've not practiced this at all. This is literally first time. Don't know, Billy, about the 146 upgrade. However, I think it'll be a standalone aircraft. That's obviously very similar to the 146, but the flight instrumentation systems are very different. This aircraft is great for old school flight. No, really, really nice. Right, we'll set the local pressure setting, which is 3001. There we go. The old faithful B button in Microsoft Flight Simulator. What? What are you honking at? Speed's 250. What was that? It's honking. I don't like doing things I've not practiced before in the stream. Oh, thank you very much from Michael, who's just bought a "Are you a real pilot" mug. I could do with one of those right now. Thank you very much for supporting the channel by purchasing some merchandise. Appreciate it, my friend. Thank you very much. Right, well, we'll be in the soup soon. 5 minutes to run. We've just passed 14,000 feet, 5,000, so it's 9,000 feet in just under 5 minutes. So our rate percent needs to be about 1,800 feet per minute. We'll keep that rate percent as it is. Getting excuses in nice and early now. What other excuses could I use? Yeah, never flown this approach here, unfamiliar with the aircraft, Jim's not helping me, blah blah blah. Loads of approaches and excuses. Right, I should get the Navigraph chart here. Really, shouldn't I? Oh. No! You could probably scan that. I probably shouldn't be sharing that, should I? No, because I think it's still linked to my account. You forgot the weather excuse as well. Well, I'll just have to make reference to the chart here for you periodically. So guys, if you have Navigraph, go to Charlie Yankee Zulu Foxtrot Yellowknife VR runway 16. That is the approach we're flying, and you'll be able to reference it there. I also want to reduce speed for this approach to 220 knots. So let's bug 220 now. Perfect. Perfect, sorry, I was checking my phone or something. So let's go to pitch. So if I just push the trim, there we are. Let's just go to 500 feet per minute. John, are you looking forward to debriefing this approach if something goes wrong? No. Which reminds me, I'll turn on flight recorder, the replay tool, so we can replay it back. Right, it's recording now. Let's take a bit more thrust off. Yes. Get back down to 220. 13 miles from the VOR. So let's get that heading bug matched. So we're going to go heading. Just going to use Dead Reckoning now to get to the VOR, and we'll set the outbound course 334 now, okay? Oh, that's my bad. It's completely my bad. I forgot to go to heading select on there. It's fine. Oh, shouldn't be too far off. Oh, it's really struggling to slow down here. So great on the HSI with that little purple arrow and the RMI needles pointing directly to the VOR. Go on, slow down. Let's just get that speed brake up. Get the speed right back to 220. IS hold. Stow that now. Right, lights coming on, post cruise checks. Oh, about to fly over the airport anyway, just down there somewhere. Oh, I need to look where I'm going. So IS hold. Just make sure I'm drifting off the airport there slightly. I have no idea what the wind is. So 220 knots, that's fine. Ooh, don't want to go that far. That is already silenced. So pitching for 220 and down we go. Right, now I need to turn right. We're less than a minute from the VOR now. So if I knew the wind, I could drift it, and because I've updated the HSI for the outbound, I can't really use that to navigate. Anyway, there is the airport. Look, Yellowknife. We're landing VR16 on this direction. In this misty, murky haze. No, I do prefer the word misty. Right, 0.5. So look at the speed change as we go over the VOR as well. All 50 at 14. Yeah, this is the runway we need. Why is it not descending? It's really slow descending. I want to be a lot lower than this. Let's just get this speed rate out and do a dirty dive. Right, there we are over the VOR. Oh, I thought the DME speed would change quite quickly. Right, heading. Let's fly outbound. We need to fly for an outbound. This is 5.2 DME, so let's turn now. Should turn a little bit earlier. Just want to get nice and low now. We can descend to 2,200 feet now. 2,200 feet. God, that's rate of descent with those speed brakes out is balmy. Right, HSI's coming in. I want to get low actually. So Vorlock, beam. I'm going to have no capacity for chat now for the next few minutes because it's happening a lot quicker than I thought it would. A lot quicker. I need to slow down now. I need to get below 200 knots to select flaps. Wow, this is happening far quicker than I thought it would. Sorry, right, I need to set a timer as well. Right, we're almost at 5.2 miles. Heading 5.2 is now. So start the timer. Right, it's on 30 seconds my watch, so 1 minute 30. And we're flying a heading of 019. Get below 200 knots, please. I'm a little bit high here. So when I've got another 1 minute 15 seconds. So just show you where we are. We should be turning outbound here. There you go. Look, it's worked out quite well. Look at that. So we're just turning outbound there. HSI. I need to set. I'm just going to get to 2,200, guys. Oh, actually, you know what? No. Pitch. Let's do this. Pitch. Let's do it properly. Come on. Pitch up. Oh, I'm doing a really dirty dive here. What's the final approach course again? 154. Ah! I've still got another 45 seconds before I need to turn. That's going to help me slow down. Oh, this is not pretty at all. I was just being really conservative. Right, I can now select flaps. Oh, 2 secs, buddy. 2 secs. Oh, this is so fiddly. Ah! Well, we've got another 15 seconds. 15 seconds. Speed. Well, helps if I start the speed brake. Nothing to see here. Yeah, flaps are 11. That's fine. And we'll do 160 knots. Keep descending. And now that's a minute and a half. Turning 180. Alright, we're level at 2,200. That's fine. This is honestly fine. It's all legal. It's correct. We're now on this part of the arc turn here. Look, up here will be. Obviously, it's not to scale, guys, but that is correct. There's nothing stopping us from being at 2,200. You'd obviously in a aircraft, modern aircraft, and one where you're actually in it with people, I could have said a much more realistic rate of descent. I just thought I was going to be too high too quickly, so I sort of did a panic dirty dive. But we'll maintain 2,200 now until 5.2 DME. Oh no. Oh, I'll just use the distance here. 160 knots. Right, we're within 12 miles now, so I'm going to drop the gear. And that should flops. Alarm beam. Vorlock beam. It's active. That's good. Set runway heading on the inbound course. But this is a 4-degree offset approach. I don't know about setting. Oh no, the missed approach altitude is 2,200. I think to descend. The autopilot's doing a good job here, maintaining the track, maintaining the height. God, yeah, look at this. Right. Full flaps coming out now. Arm the speed brake. Our ground speed is 120 knots. Let's quickly check the charts here. 120 knots, 637 feet per minute. So we'll set about 800. Just be conservative to get low at the MDA. Speed. Flat 42. That's the bug speed I want to be flying. 119. Dirty here, so we're going to need a lot more thrust. So now we're waiting for 5.2 miles. We're established on the final approach track here. Pretty dirty. Gears out on flaps. Sort of like feels like a circle. So just to show you where we are, we're now established on the final approach track, waiting for 5.2 DME. We're obviously out here, and then at 5.2 DME we can start our descent to the MDA. So at 7.2, I'm going to set this to our MDA rounded up, so 1,300 feet. A little fast. This is dirty. This approach, dirty. All planes out. It's horrible weather. Landing checks complete. Speed brakes on. We're fully configured. Speed's a little bit high. Waiting for 5.2 dB. Remember, there's no ILS or glide slope information. This is a VR approach with no vertical guidance. 120 knots. Remember, 637 feet per minute. 5.2 start of descent point. So hopefully, if I now select this to 1,300 feet, and then I'll go straight to pitch mode at 5.2 DME. Speed's good, fully configured, looking okay here. 2D approach by beloved. I'll do my best to do a sort of descent path. Ideally, I'd be continuously descending for this entire procedure, but my airline vertical speed approaches, we do need to be level 2 miles before the final approach fix, which is what we are now. So 7.2, 2 miles until the start of a descent point. Still can't see anything. Remember, it's an offset approach. The airport will be on the right hand side. It's 4 degrees offset. 6.6 to go. Well, to the descent point, only 1 mile to go. Speed's good. Found a nice thrust setting here to maintain our final approach speed. Speed's bang on. Six miles, 0.8 to go until we start our descent. I can go straight into pitch mode by pitching trim nose down. You can see the autopilot making stab trim inputs. Really cool. Great add-on. 5.6, 5.5. Actually, you know what? That's going to be useful. 2.5 minutes to go. 5.2. Start our descent. 600 feet per minute. Pitching down using trim. About 700 feet per minute will do. Checked. We'll do some height checks. So, distance, 3 miles. I want to be at 1,500 feet. Oh, trim down, come on. There we are. I don't mind doing around 1,000. So, well, 4 miles, I need to be at 1,820. So I'm getting this off the chart. Look, 4 miles, 1,820. So 4 miles, about 1,820. We're on profile. 3 miles, 1,500 feet. So I'm going to trim nose up a little bit here. We're going to be looking outside. 3 miles, 1,500 feet. Checked. Thanks. Oh, forgot to reduce thrust. I used to yell at my students for not doing that on a circle. Oh, speed's too high now. 3 miles, 1,300. I'm high. Oh no, sorry, 1,500. We're bang on. Right, I'm gonna look out now. Oh my days. Right, leveling off now at the MDA. Oh. Right, we're at the MDA, 1,300. The missed approach point is the VOR. Oh my god.
Speed.
Yeah. Good call. God, Jim. Well done, Jim. Right, that's recovered. Right, we're looking for a runway, ladies and gentlemen. We're only 600 feet above the ground. Oh god. I'm having to looking for a runway and the instrumentation. This is the MDA, so we can stay on this until we get to the VOR. We're at 1.7 miles away. I can't do anything until I see a runway. Flight's in sight, disconnecting. Oh my god, I'm too high. No, I'm too high. Nah, that's destabilised. We're going around, guys. But that's it. If you can't see anything, we'll carry on to the VOR. I'm not doing a dirty dive because that would have been massively destabilised. But there's the airport. That's how you fly it. We were too high. I saw it too late, didn't descend, and I didn't want to go below the MDA. If you lose visual contact, you go around. So we'll carry on to the VOR. So slight left turn. And then the missed approach, we're going to fly. We get overhead the VOR. Climb to 2,200 feet, which is now set. Living thing. There's the VOR. So go around. Gear is to flap. Sorry, flap first. So flap 28. We'll set go around thrust. It's not very far we have to climb. 2,200. Flying outbound on the 154 radial. Gears coming up. There's 2,200. Yeah, we're going to do the ILS. This is exactly what you do in real life. There's 2,200. We're going to accelerate to 220 knots. Woo! It's so hard to fly in IMC. I bust the altitude slightly. But we're outbound on the 154. Oh, it's just really, really hard. Flaps will go up now. I should have retracted the flaps a bit sooner. We're going a bit fast. Just try my best here. This is not easy. Right, let's get back down to 2,200. Yes, there's 2,200. That's the gear. silencer will do that. Oh my god! Sorry, I'm really flying inaccurately here. Let's back up to 2,200. This is where desktop simulators, there's only so much you could do, because when you're going up and down like that, you'd feel it and you'd instinctively make a change. You know, trust your instruments, but you look at these tiny gauges here. So I'm meant to be turning back to the beacon here at this point. I just want to get stable. I'm going 250 knots. Look, if I make a tiny pitch change, look, it's just like I'm making such small pitch changes. Right, 2,200. Right, level. Yeah. Right, let's just get the automation. I'm meant to be turning back to the VOR here, but I'm going to reposition for another approach. MSA's fine. So autopilot coming in now. It's just the only way to get my workload down, guys. So 2,200. I want height and heading. Okay. So we're going to we're above the MSA here. Come on, 2,200. Speed's okay. And we're going to reposition for an ILS because it's really difficult to fly an approach like that. We're above the minimums, but if I bring the approach chart here, right, we're above the MSA 2,000 feet, that's fine. So MSA is 2,000 to the south. We leveled off the MDA, and I saw the lights disconnecting, but I wasn't confident enough to descend because there wasn't a good enough visual picture. And then obviously we got high because you've got to keep descending, but you can only descend below the MDA when you can see element of the approach lights clearly, runway threshold, etc., something like that, which I couldn't see. Oh yes, I'm trying to fly 220 knots, but every time I reduce the thrust, the horn goes off. So yeah, what we'll do, we're going to position for the ILS. We'll just deal with the crosswind landing. Let's grab that chart. I'm just going to position myself. So long as I'm in 25 miles, I'm happy to maintain 2,200 feet. It's safe if there's no radar. Just as long as you're above the MSA, you're fine. So let's have a look. It's borderline with the minimums anyway. What's the wind doing here? Let's try and find the best runway with a headwind here with the ILS. So surface wind's 150 at 14. Is there an ILS on 10? It's a 1,500 metre runway though. It's 3-4. 3-4 is going to be quite a tailwind. What else have we got available? Is it just on 3-4? The tailwind is going to be huge though. It's going to be about 11 knot tailwind. That's fine. We'll do that. Try and get the VOR. How much fuel have I got? We can commit. I know you guys want me to do it. Look, visibility's good round here. Yeah, just time, guys. I'm going to do the ILS. I'm going to be boring to do the ILS. It's what I do. I'd opt for. Tailwind, if you've got a 15 knot tailwind approval, it's in limits. Yeah, let's set it up for that. So we're still going southbound. MSA, we're fine. We're at 2,200, 17 miles. Let's do a 180-degree turn back to the airport. ILS frequency is 1095. Course is a 340. We're out of range of the ILS, but if we keep flying towards the VOR again, we'll be fine. So I'll just put the VOR active on box 2. That is 1155. So we'll just fly towards the VOR initially. So frequencies, courses, minimums now. It's 872, which is 200 feet AGL. 250 knots. Look. So if I just can't go any slower than this. 200 feet AGL. F28 with floats. Yeah, fair, I have to play. Yeah, if I had a bit more time, I'd have a second go, and I think I'd know what I need to do, but it's on limits. It's a quarter of a statute mark, and that is why minimums and RVRs and visibility requirements must be respected, because there'd be an approach ban if it's below limits, and that's why, because it's dangerous, and that's why you have these limits. Anyway, yeah, we've got the VOR on box 2, so we're just going to fly directly towards the VOR now until we pick up the ILS. And I am going to have to get that gear warning horn again. Oh, it's already silenced, so we're going to have to start slowing down for the approach. So we're going to fly directly towards the VOR until we pick up the ILS on box 1. I'm using the RMI here to fly towards the VOR. Start reducing speed. Back into the smoke and the fog. So Frixie's courses minimums are all set. And now we're flying to the VOR, I can give myself an intercept heading for the ILS. So something like west, or just north of northwest will do. We've got the localizer. But we did everything safe. John, I'm trying to remember if the limits are legally binding in Canada. For some reason I don't think they are. So an approach ban for us doesn't stop you in Europe, doesn't stop you from flying the approach. You can fly the approach regardless of the approach ban, but you cannot continue below 1,000 feet above the aerodrome. So if you get to 1,000 feet above the aerodrome, you can't. The RVR is still below the limits you have to go around. If you pass 1,000 feet and the RVR subsequently drops below the RVR required for the approach, you can continue to minimums. Yeah, an approach ban doesn't stop you flying the approach per se. Oh gosh, look at my speed. Flaps to 11 then. Let's bug 180. Do we have DME here? No, we've got no DME here. It's just localizer glide flip. That's fine. I'll give myself a slightly better intercept heading. Miles from the VOR. The VOR will read 0.7 off the threshold, so I'll show you where I'm getting that information from. 0.7 look off Yankee Zulu Foxtrot, so we'll keep the VOR tuned in box 2. So I intercept the glide slope quite late because obviously we're at the missed approach altitude from the last approach, still 2,200. Now credit to the F28 Just Flight here. The aircraft's flying really nicely. The autopilot's good, solid, flies the approach accurately. What you set is, and the aircraft does what you want it to do. VSI, yeah, there are some oscillations there with the VSI, isn't there? Right, we're almost lined up there with the HSI. Oh, there is the live, so let's go to Vorlock. Where are you? Ah, approach. Vorlock. No, beam, that's what I was looking for. Thank you. Localizer live, localizer capture. So we're established on the localizer. And this is exactly what we do. In real life, you'd fly the preferential runway, but if the visibility is below the minimums required for the approach, or tight, or we had to do some sort of level off at MDA, you'd opt for the ILS. We've got a tailwind here, so the limits for us at my price is 10 knots for an ILS, or no, sorry, 10 knot tailwind on the approach regardless. We have approval on certain approaches to fly up to a 15 knot tailwind. 15 knot tailwind. Now we're landing on the reciprocal runway here. The runway's plenty long enough for us in the F28. Right, glide slip alive any second now, so we are going to drop the gear early because we're only 7 miles away. So gear down. We can go to flap 25 as long as we're below 200 knots. Set our final bug speeds. Glide slip alive any second here. And landing flap coming out as well. But we did the right thing. Going around was the right decision there. I could have done a dirty dive to got to the runway, but it would have been unstable, unrealistic to have made that threshold. When I saw the runway, I was like, well, way too high. We're going to can that. Checked, captured. Not quite. Yeah, still armed. There we are. Glide is active. Missed approach altitude on this one is climbed to 4,000 feet, heading 340. Expect vectors. So we can set 4,000 feet. Now we'll be nicely lined up on the runway, on speeds, on localizer, on glide. He says. Let's put us a little high there. So to continue below minimums, you need to see some element of the approach light system, the runway, the threshold, the PAPIs, the touchdown zone, runway edge lights. It was a good idea going for the VOR, but yeah, looking at that, I think the visibility is getting worse. Speed's a little high. Yeah, that should be on glide slope auto there. Checked, a little fast. Ooh, I don't like how it's rocking around. We'll utilise the automation until minimum usage height. Oh, it's getting low on the glide slope. The autopilot's getting me very low on the glide slope. Ooh, come on, pitch up. Checked. Oh, where is it? Where is it? Oh, look, it's not doing a good... Right, my airplane. It's putting me very low on the glide slope here. Runway in sight. Oof, now it's put me high, though. That's me just... Whoa! I'm a little high here. Just watch that rate of descent. That's good.
Speed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, speed is way low. Oh,
Speed.
that's ballooned me. Oh, I just realised I don't have yoke cam on. Sorry, guys. Speed brakes out. Woo.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Oh, what a butter. Right. Rudder. We're down. Oh, the glide slope. Whoa, that was sketchy. We're down. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Yellowknife. Cool. See, this is where desktop simulators, it's not easy. You can't see anything clearly, and big changes in pitch and roll are not easy to notice, especially in IMC. I've not even touched the brakes. I'm just gonna. Let me just get my charts up here. We'll go to the end and do a 180. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Yellowknife. Oh, excellent. That was good fun. Busy, but good fun. Right. Oh, we can actually vacate at the end. I'll just get the charts. Look at that. That's very convenient. Yeah, that was it. We're alive. We're down. That's the key thing there. But yeah, that approach there, the ILS, it got a little bit low there. I was looking at the autopilot and I was sort of getting 1 dot. Was it high? I can't remember now. It was 1 dot off. I thought, I best fly this, and then I flew it. Started pitching down, and all of a sudden it was like going straight down again. But yeah, there we go. We're down safely. Most limits were all kept within limits. But yeah, great fun, great add-on. Only let down by my inability to operate it accurately. Right, well, I'm following the chart here in front of me. There should be a lovely yellow taxi line in front of me. Of course, stock Microsoft Flight Sim airports leave a lot to be desired, but we'll follow this way anyway and see what happens. Flaps coming up, speed brakes stowed. We can turn off all the landing lights. I hope you enjoyed that though anyway. I tried to do everything as realistically as I can, but I'm not familiar with the aircraft. Difficult approaches. Anyway, landing living up to the name of the place. Yellowknife. Oh, well, the only thing that's yellow. Flight directors can come off. Trim we'd reset as well. Transponder can come off. We'll start the APU. That's where the taxi's apparently going. What we'll do, we'll just park somewhere down here. Let's go in here. Look, in front of this building here. I don't know where the main terminal is, but probably around there, isn't it? In real life, we'll park in front of that building. Oops, let's just make sure I'm going in the right direction. Oh, it's just lights everywhere. Start the APU. APU starting. What is going on? I had no input on the rudder, and it just veered off. That's the second time we've been on the grass today. Thankfully, not have to take off or landing. It's alright. This aircraft's designed to land on airports that are not contaminated. Oh dear. Sorry, gravel, isn't it? Stuff like that. We're just testing out. There we are. I've got a mixture of... Right, I've got to turn off my music. We've got to listen to this one, I'm afraid. Parking brake set. Where are you? It's behind here. There we are. Parking brake set. APU. Gen 3 on, and we can shut the engines down. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Yellowknife. What an exciting flight that was. Onto the APU bus. Beautiful. Taxi lights we can now turn off and retract. Strobe lights should already be off. Storm lights are off, and we can now... These passengers, I think, want to get off the aeroplane. Cancel forward passengers, there you go. You can now jump on off here. Well, we survived. We're alive. We're alive here. We're alive here. Craig, Maddox, X on 3 months. Did you have just the one-sider before the approach? I had no cider. I was going to, but I forgot. But thank you very much. You continued support there. 3 months as a member. Ghost on board. Yeah, Gamer Idol, you're right. The ghost that pushed the rudder pedal there and took me off. Stefan, when you say you're on the grass, are you referring to something you've been smoking? It would explain a lot. Unbelievable. Yaroslav, great flight. You did really well. Thanks for keeping everything realistic. Thank you, Yaroslav. Within the confines of my knowledge and this aircraft and Microsoft Flight Simulator, yes, it's as realistic as I could get it. And going around off that VOR approach was the right decision. I could have dived down, landed no problem, but it would have been screaming sink rate, terrain pull up. I would have had an excessive rate descent. I would have been hauled in by the Canadian Aviation Authority to explain my actions along with Canadian Regional's chief pilot. But yeah, it was good fun. The ILS at the end as well was a bit... I think that was just a little... on the glide there on its own, it got a little bit low on its own. I completely forgot I was on the VATSIM network for that entire approach as well, where the internet was been working fine again for the last 30 minutes, so fingers crossed, no more issues. Lovely aircraft, a long way from home, but thanks for joining in on this sector, sir. There we are. I did the replay as well, so we can watch that and see what happened. Excellent. Thanks for all the input from John Alexander. I think it's a commercial pilot too. That was really great to have. And that's about it. Perfect. Right, we'd of course complete the transit or shutdown checklist, but office music. We're going to get the aircraft reconfigured for the replay here. So what I'll do, I'll put these on here, close the door, and manage the passengers have been disembarked. I'll now attempt to get the state ready for takeoff, which should start the engines, but it didn't do this last time, did it? You select ready for takeoff, but the engines, look, they need to fix this, because when you select ready for takeoff, look, there, it can't be, because the engines are in the cut-off position. So I think what I'll do, I'll reposition the aircraft. It should force restart the engines. I'll put the flaps all the way out. Excuse the replay, because I sort of have to do all the configuration myself to match, otherwise it doesn't work properly. So we'll do that now, and if you'd like, we can do the replay from the sort of the missed approach off the first approach, if it'll let me. So let me get the replay music going. There we go. Make sure I disconnect off that sim. There we are, that's done. Turn off Fly Live as well. That's off. There we go. Hopefully this will work. Bear with me. So replay. Okay. You're gonna get a lot. This isn't gonna work very well, but. So there we are. Let's actually. Oh, sorry about all this noise here. Excessive volume. So I'm just going to turn that down. I'm also going to turn down Microsoft Flight Simulator here. And what we're going to do, we're just going to go VMC here to see what it looked like. So this is the first VOR approach here. So let me just turn the weather off. Look, so I was looking really good off this, wasn't I? So if I just resume replay. So this was me on the VOR approach, look. I was descending down to the MDA. Look at how well it was going. I think, yeah, this is the VOR approach, guys. So this was going really well. I then leveled off at the MDA. MDA here. Obviously, no, sorry, I'm having to control all the engines here. So there's the MDA, and look. It was, because obviously I still couldn't see the runway at this point. If I go to live weather quickly, look. I'll pop this. Oh no, you won't be able to see that. Look, if I go back to live weather, look here. Look, that's actually that was the conditions. But look, I was actually in a good position. But now, obviously, because I'm level at the MDA, looking for the airport, getting higher, 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 and at this position here, I can't go. Still at the MDA, still at the MDA. I see the runway at this point. Look, I think. So I see the runway. And then obviously this is all wrong because it's based off the ILS. Still, look, at this point here, there you go. I see the lights, so I start descending. Didn't realise where I was, and I went, nope, I'm too high. I'm too high. Went straight back to the MDA at 1300, which is the correct action. Fly towards the VOR, and then we executed the missed approach. Not very well, but yeah, that was actually the conditions there. Look, so if I replay, go back here. The actual VOR approach we flew, though, the descent was really nice. So this is descending on the 3-degree path down to the MDA. Now, if the visibility was better, I'd see the runway. Boom. I'd be fine. But yeah, that VOR exactly, John. That VOR approach, I don't think I was ever going to get in because I have to level off now. There's the MDA 1300, and at that point you level off. That's it. It's based off a 3-degree path, and that's what I was sort of saying earlier. Where do I execute the missed approach when I reach? If I reach the MDA. This probably would have been the right decision, but there you go. Look, no way I saw it. And then we are. That's exactly Black Doctor. That's really good. Good example of how weather can affect approaches. Absolutely. Absolutely. Anyway, let's have a look at the ILS. If I go back to live weather, or reposition for that. So again, we're going to turn live weather off. Just let sim catch up. So the ILS was looking really good. And I was still on the ILS here. Hadn't disconnected. Unfortunately, the replay doesn't work very well. But we'll hopefully see. I think the autopilot was struggling here, and it put me a little bit low. So that's when I disconnected, pitched up, and got back onto the glide path. I don't know if I disconnected at this stage. There we go. So look, the Just Flight autopilot was putting me low here, and I thought, you know, ooh, getting a bit low here. So I disconnected the autopilot there. Look, I then leveled off. Got back onto the approach and then started descending, but I got myself a little bit high there. And obviously the actual conditions were like this, don't forget. Yeah, that's another point there, John. Yeah, I think the actual visibility in the game could have been less than 2 statute miles there. But, you know, you've got to respect the rules. If you can't see it at MG8, you go around. Landing wasn't bad at all. Landing was butter. Beautiful. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not actual RVRs. It's computed visibility. We're meant to times that by something as well to work it out. Perfect. We'll do one more replay from this angle. I'm having to control the speed brake and reverses, but apart from my ropey handling skills today, it's a super add-on. Super add-on. We got it down safely in live time, live weather. That's the key thing. God, these guys doing it in the DC-3 and the Commando at Buffalo Airways in the winter months. My goodness. Oof. It's getting rocked around there. I got a bit low on speed there as well. -159, good. Don't forget I had a tailwind here. Yeah, that visibility, maybe it's about 2 statute miles. Don't know. Nice. Bang on the centre line. Look at that centre line tracking. Wonderful. Wonderful. Excellent. Right, what I'll do, I'll pop you in this view so you can enjoy the approach from the perspective of a passenger sat here. Let me just pause the replay and pop you here at the top of the glide slope. That should do you there. Perfect. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that today. I enjoyed it. Nice little 2 sectors after working. I'm going to have a couple of days off just to chill away from anything flying related. Had a very busy week at work, but it was great fun jumping in with you today to fly the F28 again. I'll probably use the Zebo mod again next. It was quite a close poll in the community. Tab between this and the mod, so might fly that at some point in the next few weeks. Don't forget, members, next weekend is the members only group flight. I'll open the bookings for that in the coming days as well. Thanks to everyone that donated. Thank you to all the members for your continued support, and all the regular viewers and subscribers. Thank you very much for popping in. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date with the latest content. Enjoy what's left of the weekend, and I'll see you all very soon. Cheerio.